Hello and welcome back to Real Talk Live, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all the latest entertainment news. I'm your host Krypton Cage, and I'm joined here today by my co-host, the Viking.
Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've popped up on here, hasn't it?
It's been a while since we have gone live, man. like,
Oh yeah.
as you can see, I have a new setup, new camera here, and my laptop just, was fucking up so much. I didn't get to use my laptop for about a week, and that's horrible to me because I cannot live without it. But finally, the audio is fixed. I had to reset the entire thing, and now we are back.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
we're back, and it's good to be back because it's a good, open, friendly platform for us. Anyway, that's what we like to create to talk about this kind of stuff and not get too angry at each other. But I might get a
Yeah.
little bit angry later because I'm a big Obi-Wan fan. JC, kick off the show.
Absolutely, absolutely, we'll get there. But yeah, let's begin with Rokan. Your camera is going and coming. I don't know why. It's showing the Skype logo right now on screen.
Oh really?
Yeah,
And,
1 second.
okay.
So our Skype just updated, and for some reason it switches views and stuff. I don't know what's happening with that, but let me try a different layout here. All right, now you're visible. Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, all right. So we also have another empty screen here on the layout, which will be for another guest who will be joining us, later in the show. So yeah, let's start. First, we have Under the Banner of Heaven. So let me begin with saying I just wanted to watch the show because it was Andrew Garfield, and he was starring in this um, crime drama, surrounding mystery, and it had kind of religious themes, from the trailer and stuff like that. But that's the only reason I wanted to see this, right? Because it's obviously Andrew Garfield, so he will be fantastic in this, and it's kind of a unique role for him to take on. He has never done this type of role before, so I was curious about that as well. But look, I really enjoyed the show from start to end, but as this was a weekly show, so as the episodes went on, we really get to explore Andrew Garfield's range in this. So basically, the story is he is a detective who is struggling with this one new case about Mormons, with Mormons involved, and he himself is a Mormon. So he is struggling with, dealing with these people who he thought would be of his faith and would be good people and all that. And, these people are kind of like extremists in a way, and they follow the same religion Andrew Garfield is following, but they take it to the extreme level and they twist the words of their scripture and all that stuff. So he was throughout the show struggling to deal with this, right? And struggling with his own faith and what it means to him and his family and all that. It was so well portrayed. Um, I loved the direction of the show firstly because it didn't paint someone or something in a bad light, but it just stated facts and a story about how these people were involved in this crime, right? So with from that aspect, I really loved it, and I think this show is for everyone. I don't know if people who get easily offended would like this show, to be honest, but if you are open to stuff, and if you don't get easily offended, I feel like this show is for everyone, not just Christians or Mormons or whatever religion. You can easily watch this show and you can understand their point of view. You can see what happens and learn from it as well. So I thought it was a very, very well developed show, it's obviously based on a book, so you already have a great start there. So, yeah, I really loved it. I don't want to give away any spoilers since you haven't seen the finale, Mar, but yeah, I loved the finale as well. It was so well crafted. The ending also was very good. The performances are just top notch. If forget everything else, you just have to watch the show for the performances alone. Like, they absolutely have range in this show, like every single person. And apart from, Andrew Garfield, you have, the guy from Peacemaker, you have the other Captain America, and you have Sam Worthington, who is going to be in the Avatar sequel this year. So, dude, he fucking nailed it in this show, man. After seeing this show, I'm so excited for Avatar 2. Like, he's really, really good in this show. But yeah, I would definitely, recommend this show to everyone. I feel like this is one of the top shows. Unfortunately, because this is not Netflix or Disney Plus or HBO, this show will kind of get buried. But I feel like, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it will kind of, because it's not, as you said, on those services. It's on FX, which is its own kind of platform weekly. You watch it on cable and stuff like that. But I actually am a fan of FX Productions. They've made some great productions in the past, and this is another one. Andrew Garfield basically just gives an acting masterclass every single episode. He's just fantastic. It's just like they told all the actors what the plot was, what the story was, and then it sits a camera in a scene and just lets them act. And it's really well acted. And Daisy Edgar Jones is one of the characters in this, and she will be one of the biggest Hollywood stars in the coming years. She will get a big Marvel or a DC movie. She will be up there for Oscars in the future because she's a fantastic actor. She was in an Irish-based show, which was a popular show as well. She was very good in that. She was in the new movie with Sebastian Stan that was on Disney Plus, Hulu there recently, Fresh, I think it was called, a few months ago. She has another movie coming out pretty soon. The trailer just dropped a few weeks. Is really, really good in this series as well. And what I like about the series is you have Andrew Garfield. He's a detective. There's a big murder mystery, of course. His fate, his religion is being tested, as KC said, and it has him as a detective, and we get flashbacks to certain characters telling a different story about what their perspective was of somebody or a certain event. And it's really well done that way as well. It keeps you very engaged. And it reminded me a lot of True Detective Season 1, where you have, for me, I've always said this, True Detective Season 1 is a masterpiece. It's the single greatest season of television ever. I've watched that every single year since it came out back in 2014, 2015, Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, where these detectives are telling this story, and you get flashbacks going back 20, 15 years, 5 years and stuff. And that was a very, very, that was a show that I was just in awe of. This series isn't quite up to that level, but it reminded me of it a lot. And I've yet to watch the finale, but I'm looking forward to checking out the finale, but the performances are all great, and it's great kind of mystery to it as well. And it's graphic at times, and it's very messed up. And I'm not a religious man myself, but there is people out there, and I respect people who are really into religion. But like anything, drugs, alcohol, things can be taken to the extreme, and that shows that side of it in this series. So yeah, definitely check it out, and you can binge all 7 episodes right now, and it's worth it. All episodes are over an hour long as well, so it's going to have to put some investment into the series, but it's definitely worthwhile because of how good it is.
Awesome. And Rokan, have you seen any episode of this show?
Not yet. I mean, I've heard acclaim from it from you guys, and my sister is a giant fan of it too. So I think now that all episodes are on Hulu now, because at least I don't know how they're international territories, but right here in the States, we have what is called FX on Hulu. So all of the FX related shows go straight to Hulu. So I mainly use FX just to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's pretty much all I've been using it for. But for something like this, with it being Andrew Garfield and Sam Worthington, and also it's like another detective manhunt story, which I'm a big True Detective fan, so I do want to check it out. So that'll definitely be next on my list of shows to watch.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. You should definitely check it out. It's pretty yeah, I forgot to mention, but yeah, it gets really gruesome at some points. But yeah.
Even better. Even
Yeah, they don't
better.
shy away from anything like that. So yeah. But yeah, speaking of gruesome, let's jump on to the next topic, which is the boys. All right. So, look, we have been a big fan of the boys since the beginning. Obviously, like most people like it. The show just goes to places that you'd never expect. It obviously is a parody, of superheroes in general, but what sets it apart from the comic is that this show is taking place in the modern superhero age, which means the actual characters and the companies that it will parody is the current MCU and the DCEU, right? So dude, I just love every single reference, every single satire element that they bring in, the characters that they are, obviously parodying in this, the meme elements that go viral on the internet and they bring that into the show. So much of that is so well done by them. I just love this team so much because not only they do this like some cheap comedy parody, but they actually have a really good storyline going on. The characters are strong on their own. Like the parody elements are cool and stuff, but it wouldn't have worked so well if the story or the characters were not good. So that comes first, and they are nailing it every season. Homelander is still, the one of the best characters on TV ever, and he's still strong, going strong in this season, and I just love every aspect of Homelander. To a point, I feel like they make you empathize with him, even if he's such a horrible person, but you feel empathy towards him because of what he's going through from his perspective, right? So you can kind of see that this show's writing is so good because they make you feel empathy towards this horrible character, and they give him antagonists as well. So it's not like he is the villain of the show, but he's still the front head captain of the seven, which kind of is complicated there now, but you can still see. I just love the the character that Giancarlo Esposito plays, Stan Edgar. He's also amazing, dude. Like the way he's playing in this season right now, he's basically showing Homelander that even if you are the most powerful, person in the world, you don't have real power, and that is so
Yeah,
fucking good.
I always thought it was
Mhm.
when last season ended. They kind of blackmailed Homelander with the
Yeah.
video of him not saving the people on the. And I was like thinking to myself, oh, that because I didn't I was thinking, how are they going to get out of this situation last season, especially with the Nazi kind of super villain, superhero, and how are they going to get out of this entire situation? Like, oh, they blackmailed him. Okay, cool, but like he is Homelander. He is basically Superman. If I know he loves attention and all that kind of stuff, but if he really wanted to just say, "Fuck it, I'm going to take out the entire world," he could, And we actually get to see that progress in these first three episodes, which I actually liked. And you can see the fear in everybody's eyes again because, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't blackmail this guy because you honestly just can't. There is no leverage with this guy.
Yeah, man. Like it's really crazy because like you said, there was that blackmail thing, and they touch on that again in this season, and I'm really hyped for how that plays out because it was kind of ruled out now by Homelander. So now he's
Yeah,
on the path of truly being unstoppable, and he's on the
yeah,
path of true power, and he is basically alone against everyone else, like not just non-soups, but he's against soups as well. So like literally his own species is against him, the humans are against him, the power people are against him, so he's basically alone right now. And the only I just loved that moment when he basically has nobody left, and after that the only person who could actually talk to is Billy Butcher. and he goes to his apartment and sits and they both have a conversation. Dude, that was such a great scene, man. I just loved that. But yeah, Billy Butcher and the boys are also pretty fantastic in this. They have their own storylines going, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. So yeah, Maher, what do you think of it?
Well, yeah, we had like the Snyder Cut reference as well. Zack Snyder's Justice League Board Cut. That social media campaign before the third season came out was just very, very funny and self-aware. And I don't think you could, like, if you're a Snyder fan or anything like that, I don't see how you would be annoyed at that. It's just playful fun, and I thought it was really well done. The Board Cut, like, because I'm forgetting her name now, but the Nazi superhero villain. Of course, they were making a Justice League type
Stormfront
movie with all of the
that cameo.
Yeah, Stormfront. They were making a Justice. Oh, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. But no, they're making like a Justice League style film, and then of course it all comes out that she was a Nazi, so they have to recut, and the movie is kind of thrown to the side. And then the fans online were saying release the Board Cut, so they went back and did reshoots, and they brought in, they brought in a cameo.
Yeah.
You're talking about that cameo. Yeah, that was cool. They brought in, I don't know. I don't want to spoil anyone, but they brought in a cameo anyway, big star, and to replace her in the Justice League style movie in that world. So that was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. And the first 3 episodes, I think the first one's over an hour long, and the rest of them like 59 minutes. There's a lot to take in as well, and the story moves pretty well. Well, the characters all have a personality to them as well, so you kind of enjoy going back and forward to different characters at different times. And Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, who, if anyone wants another show with Anthony Starr, is Banshee, which is a really badass. If you love like men just fighting and getting with women and stuff like that, he plays a character like that, where he's just beating up guys, getting with different girls and stuff like that. He's a badass. Banshee is a good watch with a good story to it as well. But the scenes where Homelander has like long monologues are just fascinating. I feel myself pressed up towards my TV because I don't know what's going to come out of his mouth next and what he could do, because he could snap at any moment. No character's safe when they're in a scene with Homelander. And also, I was like I was the 3rd episode in, and I was thinking to myself that there's been action and there's been gore and stuff like this, but these are Justice League characters, and we don't get to see them do like Justice League type action things. And I'm okay with that because the story is so good, the writing is so good, and the characters are so interesting. I don't have to see Superman or Wonder Woman or Batman type action in every single episode. I will just watch these characters talk. And they get, like, they don't have the budget, of course, for like an Avengers or Justice League type series every single episode. But if they didn't have good writers and good directors and good actors playing these characters, the show wouldn't be on its 3rd season right now at all. But it is because of how well it is and how well it's it's put out there.
It's basically Amazon's top show right now until Lord of the Rings, comes out. But as of now, it is their top show.
Yeah.
Yep. Rightly so.
And I feel like their production design and the budget also went up, right?
Oh, they definitely did. Yeah, I'm not shitting on the budget or anything. I'm just saying, like, you have a Superman type character, and he doesn't do too many Superman type stuff, and that's okay. That doesn't devalue the show at all. Yeah.
I think they will save that for the finale, just like they did last season. Yeah. They had just one battle for the entire show. But I think they'll
kind of really like season 1 is very low.
Yeah. Yeah. The only issue is it's like it's lacking something like that. Like, I completely agree with you that we don't have the fights, because we are only thinking that because of the Superman character, because Homelander can basically do anything. So that also kind of feels like, then why isn't he doing, big stuff, right? But if he wasn't there, then this show's budget was perfect. Like, everyone else can easily be handled within the budget. But because he's there, it's like, well, he's basically Superman, so why is he, why are they nerfing him, kind of?
Can I ask a question? The flashback to with Soldier Boy and that whole team. Yeah. What's the character's name? Black Noir?
Black Noir.
Black Noir. Black Noir, yeah.
Yeah, so was that was his kind of origin story, why he always wears the mask?
Yes.
That was? Okay, yeah. I wasn't too sure if it's the same person in the suit.
No, that is him, but there's also apparently another thing that happens with him in the comics. I think they will be.
Is he still around?
Is he what?
Is he still alive?
I'm not sure.
He didn't die last
Yeah,
season, did
he's
he?
still alive. In the show, he's still
No,
alive.
yeah, they said he's. I think they said he's in the. I think they said he's in the hospital because he's recovering from an allergy and
Yeah, something like that. And then he's alive in the show. There's something related to him that is big apparently, and it's in the comics. And I didn't look that up or didn't want to know anything about it, so I'm just being careful with that. But yeah, I feel like because in the trailers they kind of highlighted him a lot, so I feel like it's coming this season.
And the character in the flashback, was that Giancarlo Esposito's
Yes.
younger version? Yeah. Okay. I won't say.
Yeah.
Him, and there was also Mallory's younger version. Man, she was awesome.
Yeah.
Young Mallory was awesome in the flashbacks, I feel. So yeah. Rokan, what did you think?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, go ahead.
If they did, I wouldn't be surprised if they did a prequel with Soldier Boy in that team and that era of superheroes. Like in a few years, like they did a prequel series. Might be interesting. But yeah, Rokan, go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta say, first 3 episodes of The Boys, I absolutely love kind of like the start of it. Especially like right at the beginning, it just straight tells you, that this is gonna be probably like the most wild. We're gonna see some of the most wild things in this season. I mean, we got an episode that's gonna be called. It's gonna be Herogasm, for crying out loud. Like they're gonna go all out with how wild this is gonna be. So it's, so I love what we've seen so far. I like the idea of them exploring of Huey trying to stop soups in the legal way and how they're kind of like using Butcher and the boys is kind of like they're bounty hunters in a way. You know what I mean? Like they grab the soups and they give them to the bureau. I was like, oh, that was so cool. I really wanted to see more of that. I you know what I mean? I wanted to see them kind of like emphasize that more, but from what we saw, I thought it was pretty cool. And so, yeah, I like that. And I also like the stuff with Starlight and her, kind of like promotion already and how it causes tension between her and Homelander that leads to like Homelander getting even more and more unhinged. Like, I like that. So I'm really digging what I'm seeing so far. The only thing I am not liking is the stuff with the Deep, just because I thought the stuff with the Deep in 2 really just bored me. And then right here at the beginning of season 3, I was kind of like, are we really going anywhere with the Deep?
He's weird. He's just a weird character.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough that you can tell with him. Like he has the same problem as Aquaman. Like, what are they gonna do on land? I don't know.
Aquaman, you solve this problem by making him the king of the sea, and you do kind of like those types of like royalty, tension type of stories. With the Deep, you literally just do nothing with him.
Yeah, but that scene
yeah,
that table scene was pretty fucking horrific, dude. Like,
I felt for the octopus.
I couldn't help but laugh. I really could not help but laugh at that scene.
Like, I don't know.
Even the effects were so good.
The octopus acting was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, buddy.
It was horrible.
But I wanted to touch. I remember a few months ago when the trailer came out, and like, then I don't know how I feel about the ordinary guys getting superpowers. The 24-hour.
Yeah, B24.
They take a liquid and it makes them into a superhero for 24 hours. Because I really liked how on edge I was in season 1 and 2 when the boys were around the 7, right? The superheroes or Homelander, because they could die at any second because they're ordinary guys and they have to think a little bit more. They have to plan a little bit more. They're kind of like all Batman in a way, where they have to plan out what their intentions and what their plan is. Because if they don't, they will be killed. And I was like, I don't know about them getting superpowers, because it was in the trailer anyway that they were going to be that Butcher was going to be taking them, and I still don't know how I feel about it, but that scene was pretty graphic when he met Soldier Boy's sidekick. How it's going to look, but like I suppose I would love to see Carl Urban's character and Anthony Starr's character just go at each other for a scene. That'd be cool, but Yeah, I don't know how I feel
Really?
about it. Yeah, we'll see how
I
the
actually
story
thought
plays.
you would be convinced because there was actually one scene that addressed this concern. Like, people obviously will think that, how can Butcher, who is the poster guy for being against everything soups, become a soup, right? So that was obviously the question, and they literally addressed that same question in one scene between Maeve and him. He basically asked the same thing. He said, and why do you think out of everyone else, me would take this thing and become a soup? And she basically said, this is our only chance to, defeating Homelander. Don't fuck it up. It was simple. So it was his only chance. So he had to do it. So I felt like that was convincing enough for me. But yeah, I feel like he will struggle with that as well because obviously his teammates are gonna mock him for doing that. That's definitely coming.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We also had is it Laurie Holden? Is that Rokon? Do you know Laurie? Isn't
Yeah,
that?
Laura
She was
Holden,
in
yeah.
Walking. She was in Walking Dead 3 seasons. She was cool as like an older superhero as well. They cast Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who was Negan, who of course is Thomas Wayne, and of course Supernatural. They cast him to be in The Boys, so I don't know. He's supposed to be a season regular in season 4, but I don't know if he'll show up this season. I don't know what kind of character he's going to play. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan is set to appear. That would be awesome to see whatever role he has.
We have Supernatural cast members in this show, and now we have Walking Dead cast members.
Yeah, Jensen Ackles. We didn't get to see much of him, but his voice. I liked his voice. When he appeared as Soldier.
I think he's coming back.
It's just Well, I think he is. I know he's a lead on a CW show, but I think he can do both type of shows depending on his schedule. But it is cool though just to see Jensen Ackles be Captain America, because this is kind of a trivia for you guys. Jensen Ackles was Marvel's original choice to play Captain America back in like 20s. Like they'd see him on Supernatural, they're like, oh, this guy could be Captain America. And Ackles was going to do it, and then Supernatural got picked up for more seasons because it was supposed to end after season 5, and so he wasn't able to do it. So I just think it's so cool that he gets to play a kind of like a more fucked up version of Captain America.
Yeah, and I feel like he is gonna be brought back just like Captain America. He might be frozen in ice or something like that by the Russians, and he'll suddenly appear in the city, and he might not remember his past or whatever. So yeah, I do feel like he's coming back in that same style.
Yeah. If he comes back, I'd say they want the PR team of the 7 would want to make him the leader, because he's the old American hero, and he's back now. You're not going to wait. So that'll be an interesting dynamic between him and Homelander. For sure.
I think Homelander and him will definitely go toe to toe in this season for sure. And he has to go against Starlight as well now. That reality show was so corny. That was so corny.
So they mentioned so many different actors as well, and it's like one big parody of just everything that we've ever seen before: superheroes and game shows, and they even mentioned Shia LaBeouf as well in this. So, they touch on everybody, and that reality show was pretty funny. And the show is really racist as well at times. It's very homophobic. It's very against feminism and women being powerful and being something.
Sexist.
And, is that sexist? And then that South Afghanistan superhero, the politics there, because the show is brutal. It's just not back at all.
I actually really love how they never censor anything. Like, not words, not terms. Like, they don't care about being politically correct or anything like that. So they just go at everyone, dude. Yeah. That's fucking awesome. That Disneyland scene.
No, oh jeez.
Oh man.
I mean, it's very much kind of like, even though it's not made by him, but it always gives me the vibes of Mark Miller comic, where Mark Miller comics, like Wanted or Kick-Ass, they're just this very kind of like unhinged, we will go all out and we don't care like type of shows. And
but this was actually better, and actually went through it instead of holding back like he did with that Jupiter's Legacy.
That's true. That's true.
That finale, dude, I can't get over it. Like, still, like, oh, we're so edgy, we're doing everything, you know, we are hardcore and all that, but at the end, he just was a big cop out.
It would have been edgy if it came out.
There, buddy.
Yeah.
There.
It would have been edgy if it came out in the mid 2000s or something like that, you know, because you've never seen something like
Yeah.
that before at that stage for superheroes. But it's way behind or way ahead, way behind. Like it's the Netflix should have had the boys version. Like that's what Jupiter's Legacy should have been, kind of. But the boys is better. I can't wait to watch episodes. Weekly drops now, 1 episode a week for the next till the season ends. So that's a shame, but at least we can discuss it.
Yeah, I feel like that's one downside of them doing these 3-episode, 2-episode drops. Like you have to wait a lot now, you know, and then it gets over pretty soon. So yeah. But anyway, I loved the first 3 episodes, and I cannot wait for the next one. I really, I'm really enjoying how they are still keeping the spirit of the show alive, and you know they're not holding back at all. And Homelander still continues to be the face of the show, and he's amazing. Billy Butcher is also amazing. You know, Huey and that whole plot line of his with Nadia and all that was also pretty good. So yeah, I'm liking it. I cannot wait to see the next episode. All right, let's move on to something less interesting now. Obi-Wan. All right, Rokan, if you gotta mute, you can mute now. But
yeah. For those of you guys watching, I have not seen a single episode of Obi-Wan. I'm trying to be as blind as possible. So so I'm gonna wait until all 6 episodes are out. So in the meantime, I will mute this right here. I'll give you a signal when I've muted.
Want me to go ahead, KC, with?
You can start.
Yeah, so so when I was growing up and stuff watching movies, I got to catch parts of the prequels, and I was always fascinated by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, those 2 characters. And I like the prequels. I think they're fun. I love the lightsaber fights. You know, I have a lot of fun with it. And Ewan McGregor's one of my favorite actors. I watch him in absolutely anything, and he's fantastic. He doesn't always have box office hits or anything, but his movies are always very enjoyable and usually very good. Dr. Sleep, I love that movie so much. He did a series last year with Netflix called Halston, I think it was called. Halston, as a fashion designer. So I've always ever since the prequels, I always wanted an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie or series, and I was so happy to hear that we were finally getting one of, Revenge of the Sith and then A New Hope. So, and like Darth Vader, like what's going to happen there? Like, where has Obi-Wan Kenobi been? What he's been up to? Of course, looking over Luke and Leia, the Logan style Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And look, this series was greenlit. They didn't like what they did or what they had written for it, so they went back and did rewrites, and now this is the series that we have. And Deborah Chow is directing all 6 episodes, 7 episodes of this whatever limited series. And there has been rumors that we might get a season 2. So look, for me to enjoy this series, all I need to see is Ewan McGregor, so he's obviously going to be in it, him as a badass, and maybe an epic showdown between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course, we've had Ewan McGregor. I like the dark, gritty feel to him. I like he's kind of like a little bit, he's depressed in a way, after what happened with his best friend. There's the person he mentored up, Anakin. Now he thinks Anakin is basically dead, or he doesn't know where he is. He finds out Anakin is alive. For me, all I want to see is those 2 characters go at it. And the show has kind of diverged over to kind of Leia's story as well. And I was like, hold on, what's going on here? We also have Moses Ingram's character, is that her name? Moses Ingram.
Yes.
She, is one of the villains, and I'm like, this is supposed to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, far left and right, and not just stick with Obi-Wan. But there's a lot of problems with the show in terms of the directing seems, the editing, the score, like Duel of the Fates was in the trailer, and Darth Vader's Imperial March. Like, where's all this stuff? It's not here at all. And I was rewatching Revenge of the Sith, and the lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, I should say, it was emotional. It was compelling. The score, the action was fantastic. And I don't know, the volume technology is fascinating at times. It's pretty cool how they're able to do this, but I think it has its limits. It has its restraints. Stranger Things, which we will talk about. The location shooting is fantastic. The directing from the Duffer brothers, from the other directors, it's really, really good. And here with Deborah Chow, I thought she's doing the 7 episodes. Okay, it's going to have one unique vision. And now I'm kind of sad that we don't have a different director every single episode, because I think the show needs a shake-up. But look, we have 3 episodes left. All I want to see is the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight. That's all I want to see, and done well. Episode 3 didn't really sell me on it. I thought it was badly edited, especially Darth Vader chasing after Obi-Wan, and the editing turns, and he's coming out of the same place, turns, stuff like that. Really weird editing. Even the chase sequences are really badly done. Now, maybe they're building up for the finale, where this big, massive battle is going to happen. It's going to be compelling, action, music. It's going to be unbelievable. And then we'll all be satisfied, and I'll be happy at least. But what they've been showing us in the first 3 episodes hasn't really sold me yet. But I've enjoyed watching Obi-Wan. It's not like the show is completely terrible, in my opinion. I liked episode 1, episode 2. I liked episode 3. It's just I have some nitpicks at the way that they're presenting all of this, and the directing and the editing. And for me, it's very poor for this massive show. I'm one who gives things a pass all of the time. I like Morbius, but here I like this series, but it could be much, much better, and it should be much, much better. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, Ewan McGregor is so that's kind of my thoughts on it. But hopefully, episode 5 and 6, it ramps it up. We get better. Maybe I like how Darth Vader is playing with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like that, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't want to fight either. I like those kind of things, but just the way it was shot, just seemed a little bit off to me, in my opinion. But maybe you disagree.
Oh, I completely agree with you, man. And even more, like, I cannot agree with you more than that I do now. But yeah, like, look, I am a fan of this character like everyone else. I love this casting since I never used to like the prequels, okay, before rewatching them recently, but I always liked the casting. Even Hayden Christensen, I like the casting. He kind of is like Andrew Garfield to me. So I like both of those casting. I thought the prequels had some good elements, but also had some bad elements. But after rewatching this time, I feel like the prequels are more ambitious than what the execution was. Like, they couldn't properly execute exactly what George Lucas wanted. I felt like that, but those aren't perfect movies, but I feel like those are enjoyable. Those are definitely, I would definitely credit them to having more risky and ambitious attempts at doing things than the sequels ever did.
Can have a flavor.
Yeah, they do, and the best part about the prequels, what I felt, was they did better world building than even the original trilogy, I felt, because they had so much politics. They had the Jedi Temple. They had so many characters. The world was just so big. You look outside a window, there are like a million things going on in the background. Like, it felt like a big world, but the sequels always kept getting smaller and smaller, and it just kept revolving around Luke Skywalker, and all of that's left about with him and all that. I love Luke Skywalker. He's my favorite, in Star Wars. But the thing is, this is Star Wars, and this is a world which, has a lot of, planets, galaxies, everything like that. So why just, keep shrinking it, right? Anyway, so all of that aside, now coming to Obi-Wan, I was really hyped for it because obviously this is a pretty great character, and I really liked episode 1. I thought, the way he was presented in the show, it was pretty good. I felt like he was given the similar storyline to Luke, in The Last Jedi, so I really liked that. He left, his Jedi thing, and he buried his lightsaber. He was out of it, and even they even showed like people really needing his help and dying in the process, but still he didn't go back and picked up his lightsaber and tried to help. So he was, even at that point, like that would be considered very controversial if it was directed by Ryan Johnson, I'm just saying. But he still was at that point, and I completely bought that, after going through Anakin and all that. I can completely understand what he was feeling and why he was the way he was. So I really like that story and I like that character. But then episode 2 happened and they kept bringing in this Inquisitor thing, and the story was about, basically about Darth Vader chasing Obi-Wan, right? So episode 2, I felt like it was a step down, and it was so weird, that whole world that they go on to. I felt that kind of took me out of Star Wars, because it was so Earth-like and it was so modern. Like the people were talking in our language, and the city looked like just like ours and stuff like that. So I felt like it was not Star Wars-y enough. So that kind of took me out. But episode 3, oh my god, this dude, I think you went really soft on the episode, I feel like, because I have some very harsh words. But yeah, I felt like this episode was just one of the top 5 worst. Well, I wouldn't say top 5, because Hawkeye exists, What If exists, but top 10 worst Disney Plus episodes ever. I felt like the editing was so bad. Look, the basic thing you do while you're a filmmaker, especially at Disney, especially working was for Star Wars and Lucasfilm, this is the top thing in your company. Like, how do you have such bad editing, bad basic thing, basic shots and all that? So I felt like that completely took me out. I did not enjoy this episode at all. I completely agree with you, Maher. This felt so uncinematic, if you want to call it that. But this was supposed to be, the Vader meeting Obi-Wan scene, and that didn't feel like, much. Everything was so poorly lit. Everything was dark. You could barely see both of them. I understand you have to light the lightsabers and give them priority and all that, but that can be done with some lighting. Like, if you see the behind the scenes shots of those scenes, it's actually pretty good, well lit, but in the editing they fucked it up so bad you could barely see anything. And on top of that, you have stuff like him running off the screen to the right and then coming right back here, and it's actually the other side, but we feel like it's on the same side because of the editing. The music was extremely poor.
But even at the end, when the girl came in and shot the blast stormtrooper from picking up Obi-Wan, and then they're looking around, where did that come from? Where did that come from? It came from there where he got shot.
Yeah.
And it came from that side, because that's the only side you can shoot from on the volume.
And can't Darth Vader sense her? Like,
yeah. And he could have. The fire wasn't even covering the entire ground. There was actually a gap where there was no fire. Yep. They could just walk around it.
Stuff like that. That happens in another scene where there's a laser gate, and they try to open it, but you can clearly see the space beside it, and they both could have walked beside it. But it's stuff like that. I'm not comparing this show to the movies or to the prequels even. I'm comparing this to an actual good produced show that you can find on Disney Plus as well. Like even The Mandalorian, which is not supposed to be bigger than Obi-Wan, but somehow feels like a massive scale show, but this does not. And it just bothered me so much. It felt like so...
Even Boba Fett felt bigger at times.
Well, I didn't watch most of Boba Fett, so I can't talk about that. I just only watched 2 episodes. But yeah, like there are people who actually really like Boba Fett too. And I don't know what's wrong with this show. I felt like maybe Filoni and Favreau were not overseeing this. Maybe that's the problem. Deborah Chow was doing the whole show. Maybe that's the problem. But I really liked her episode in The Mandalorian, so I don't know why. And also there was there was this change, in the final moments. Maybe the deadline was very strict, so maybe that could be one issue. I don't know what went wrong, but technically it was so bad. And the story is okay. The Inquisitors are so bad. I don't like any of them. I think just Sung Kang's character is pretty good. The others are pretty bad. I don't like them at all. Leia is pretty good. She's actually the best thing on the show. I feel like young Leia is perfect for in this role.
I think some of the dialogue at times is badly written for the actors, but
Yes.
especially for Moses Ingram, whatever her name is, her character dialogue is bad, and so is Leia's. But the young actress, like, she's only a young kid, so I'm not saying she's a terrible actor, but of course she's not the best actor. But she has a personality in her words, and her comedic timing is actually very good. So that saves her, I think, for me. And I actually enjoyed her in episode 2 because she was very witty, and the dialogue was good. She was very funny. And then isn't this the first time on the Disney Plus shows we've seen a lightsaber fight?
No, it was shown in Mandalorian season 2 where Ahsoka was brought in. That episode termed the Jedi.
Yeah, I'm talking about like lightsaber, like two lightsabers are fighting each other. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I believe we haven't.
And I don't know if the volume doesn't suit that type of thing or something, or I don't know. It's just like, I'm looking at Stranger Things. The location shooting is fantastic, and the directing is fantastic. How cool would a location lightsaber fight be, or a bigger? I don't know how it doesn't look as good as maybe it should have. But Brett says a good thing, an interesting thing, and I agree with it. He said it's like Obi-Wan died the same time as Anakin did, and now we have Ben. He's just Ben.
Yeah.
He's trying to find himself again.
I like that.
I think
part.
that is something that is a good thing in the story. And when he does find himself and he is able to fight Darth Vader, I think we will get even that. What I've seen so far, even the choreographed action, even in the Obi-Wan blaster scene, it just hasn't been as crisp as maybe it should be, which is kind of making me doubt Deborah Chow right now. But maybe she can pull us so where we get unbelievable action.
I doubt that, but anytime there's action, like not even just the lightsaber scenes, like anytime there's action, running scenes, the parkour scene, the jumping around, falling, the stormtrooper fights, anything that had action in it, it was extremely poor. Like the editing was so bad, like Taken level bad. I just, didn't like that at all. I don't know why, because the character stuff in the show is pretty good. When the camera is still, they're talking. I feel like that is pretty good. I don't see any problem there. But when there's a lot of editing going on, there's an issue. And that Vader Obi-Wan confrontation, I just feel like that shouldn't have happened at all. It felt like a fan film to me, and a really bad one at that, because there are pretty awesome fan films on YouTube. So after watching the episode, I genuinely thought that they accidentally uploaded the wrong episode. I was that, shocked by it. But me, like, I give a pass to a lot of things, just like you, Maher. Even I like Morbius. I can see some issues, but I don't, disregard something. I find something to like in, everything I watch. So if the negatives completely outweigh the positives I have, I cannot appreciate it. So this is one of those for me. I don't feel like this show can be redeemed anymore for me, because even if the next 3 episodes are good, I feel like this was so bad. Episode 3 was so bad that this show will sting. But maybe if the next 3 episodes are extremely good, like stellar episodes, like movie level, maybe then I'll be changed. But I don't think it can be fixed for me anymore.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I actually think better edited, that scene wouldn't have been as bad. Maybe
the score too, man. Like, look, I love Natalie Holt, and she was extremely good in Loki. I feel like, because it was such a hard thing to do, but she nailed it, and I was so excited for her to score the show. I don't know if was her choice to do it this way, or Disney restricted or whatever. But the end product, what I'm seeing, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, and I hope she does better in the next few episodes. But the first three, I just did not like at all.
Well, look, I'm not here saying that I absolutely hate the show. I watched the show, the 3 episodes. I was able to watch them and give them a pass, but I was watching the series and I was like, yeah, this should be better. this should be
Yep.
better. This editing is very. I can't.
Like, it's
I can
Disney,
excuse
dude,
editing. Sometimes I don't
and it's
even-
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like sometimes. Yeah, it should be the action should be a little bit better. The editing, the score, that should be all better. But I was just enjoying watching Obi-Wan Kenobi and McGregor more than anything. That's probably if he wasn't the main character, if it was some other random character, I probably wouldn't be watching the series anymore.
Yeah,
I
I
just lose
agree.
interest. What's the point?
I agree.
Um,
Like, yeah, that
so,
could be
yeah, we'll
that
see.
could be
Hopefully-
one thing that keeps me watching. I agree with you. If this was a Hawkeye like character, I probably would have not watched it, or Boba Fett. I probably would have just dipped out. But just because it's Obi-Wan and there's Vader in it, I'm still keeping on watching it, and I hope the next 2 episodes are good. But yeah, this just left a very bad taste in my mouth. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that was my review, and this was kind of a tame review for me because I was really pissed like the day it came out. But right now, I just feel like going easy on it.
Yeah. Well, look, we have another episode in a few days, so I might get rid of the bad memory. We might get severed by the new episode, so we'll see.
I hope, yeah,
See.
yeah.
Rock on if you're joining back. Yeah. So, yeah, Rokan is
Cool.
Rokan's gonna binge the 6 episodes when they come out. So it might be better. Might be better as a binge. That's what I did with Boba Fett. Binged it. And I heard people giving out about the first 3 episodes and then the last 3 episodes. But actually, when I binged the 6 episodes together, I had a really good time. And I enjoyed it. But the editing was a little bit better, and the score was a little bit better, and the action was a little bit better in Boba Fett
Yeah.
than it was in Obi-Wan so far. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm really curious to see how this is made, after the show ends. Like, I'm really curious to see who was in charge of these decisions, who, if Favreau and Filoni were overseeing it or not. Maybe that was lacking, but yeah, I'm curious to see about that. So I'm not gonna say more since Rokan is back.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We
Thank you very much.
got to get into Stranger Things then. We won't, because Stranger Things is this big massive series, and we won't spoil too much about that. So we'll give our reviews, and then we have our guests coming in right after we do talk about Stranger Things.
Yeah. So let's jump on to Stranger Things. All right. So we can I think we can talk spoilers, right? Because
Yeah, okay,
it's been a while.
It's the biggest show on Netflix.
Yeah, everyone's watched it.
It broke records. Everybody's watched
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So
It's already out a week. Is it?
yeah,
It's
just in case, I'm still turning on the spoiler alert banner here, so we're good.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, dude. Now my completely opposite reaction comes in because this show was fucking awesome, dude. I love Stranger Things so much since season 1. I felt like season 2 and 3 kind of, was lacking the charm of the first one. Maybe just because it was, a new thing back then, and everyone were, kids, and the music and all that kind of felt more nostalgic. Maybe that's because I liked the season 1 the most. But right now, dude, I feel like this season is already past season 1. I feel like this is even just this is just half a season. So even just half a season is so good. It's look, they are obviously showing us that this show is way more costly than before, and they have spent like $30 million on per episode, right? Was it 30 or 40?
30.
I thought it was.
Yeah, so $30 million per episode, and it shows. The actors are obviously also have grown and they're popular now, and you have this this sci-fi show that has to have these kind of scenes in it, right? So you obviously need that budget. And Stranger Things, luckily, is Netflix's biggest thing, so they won't be shy of spending it, you know. So yeah, I literally have zero complaints from the show, because they did everything so well. There's multiple storylines going on with the kids. Even the kids are like divided into two groups, and they both have different storylines going on. The adults have different storyline going on, and that is pretty interesting as well. And there was kind of a payoff in episode 7. I was wondering if this show actually started out with, having these two different parts, because episode 7 actually felt like a finale to a show, right? And there were so many resolutions in that episode and so many reveals that act like a cliffhanger to the next season. It was kind of like that. So I really liked how the structure of the show is now. I feel like episode 7 is my favorite. I know everyone's favorite is Dear Billy, episode 4. I love that episode. I really do. And I feel like that is one of the top episodes in, all of Stranger Things. Yes. But just because of the Vecna storyline and the reveals there, and how that was shot, how that was, so mysterious, and the red herrings, throughout the show, and that scene finally revealed, that just made the entire thing for me. And I just loved the episode 7 so much. There was also Hopper meeting, her in, for after a long time of them basically apart. So that was also really well done. But yeah, dude, like episode 7 was so fucking great. Like the ending scene with Vecna and number one, that was so amazing. I liked Jamie Campbell Bower, and I liked him from Mortal Instruments. Yes, I saw that movie. Uh, I liked him in that, and then he was obviously in Harry Potter, Twilight, and all that. But I've always liked him, and I wondered why he was not a bigger star than he was. But now he got his shining moment. He played it fantastically, and his performance was amazing, both as number one and as evil number one before turning into Vecna. But yes,
Well, dude, like this Netflix should invest in this guy. They should make a movie series just
Yep.
for this guy to keep him. This guy is a talent. I don't think I've ever
yep,
noticed this guy before. His screen presence, his line delivery.
yeah.
I was in awe
Yeah.
of this actor.
Yeah, he's amazing. And from the kids, I would say that Sadie Sink is the one that's the most talented and the best actress. Yes, 11 Millie Bobby Brown is pretty good, yes, but I feel like Sadie Sink is more. She brings more maturity to her acting. She plays it like any other actress would play, not as a kid. So I like her in that. I watched, obviously we all watched her in Fear Street as well. So she basically carried one of the movies there, and she's awesome. And yes, she is one of the fan favorites in the show. And Dear Billy obviously revolves around her. That scene was amazing, dude. The Into the Speed Force, the kind of scene that she had with Vecna, that was amazing. I loved that scene.
I think that scene's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's really well
I've,
done.
Yeah.
I've rewatched that scene and those two scenes after that. I watched the season, and they're just in scenes. And yeah, she's a
Absolutely.
fantastic actress.
Absolutely. The way that scene kind of, plays on everything, your emotions, your, the suspense and the thrilling aspect of it, the way they showed their, her life flash before our eyes thing, the the way it was doing it, I thought she was gone. Obviously probably everyone did, but I really actually thought that they were gonna kill her.
Yeah.
But they did that pretty well. So I would definitely appreciate their filmmaking in this. And they got me. They got me twice in that scene as well as the final scene. I didn't know that he was also Victor Creel's son. So they got me twice there, and it was pretty good, man. Like that scene, I would say it starts with her letter, right, to Billy. That whole letter scene was also pretty good, and then that whole Vecna scene happened. So all of that was pretty good. I loved it, and yeah, my favorite character still in this show is Robin. I think that Maya Hawke just brings such a fantastic element to the show. Her and Steve Harrington both together are like, comedic timing is great. Their chemistry is amazing. The way they banter with each other, that's also pretty good. So yeah, she's my favorite character. I thought she was she was good last season as well, but this season she feels like she knows what her character is perfectly, and she's playing to that. So yes, I'm loving her this season. Everyone else is pretty good as well. The new characters introduced are pretty good. I felt like Eddie was also pretty good, and that Argyle guy that dude is just crazy. Yeah, yeah, overall I really enjoyed it. I love this show still, and I really actually felt after last season that how can they even top the first three seasons, right? And they were like, challenge accepted, and they did it. So the only bad thing about this show right now is they have to keep the finale and the second parts consistent, because that is a huge task after this first part. So yeah, I hope they do it. I have complete faith in them. They know their writing, they know the show, they know their audience, except for their own character's birthday apparently. but, but yes, I trust them. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it's we have 2 episodes left only in a month, July, when the next 2 episodes come, and they're like nearly 2 hours long, or one of them is 2 hours. Like, these are movie runtimes we're getting for episodes, which is crazy.
Yeah, one is an hour and a half, and the other is literally 2.5 hours long.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Like I never watched Stranger Things until Monday. Never watched the series, so I binged watched all 4 seasons.
Oh wow!
Monday. And I, because I heard people talking about Stranger, you have to watch Stranger Things. It seemed like the paperboy for Netflix was Stranger Things. I
feel like Stranger Things has to be on everyone's must-watch list, just like Game of Thrones is. And you still haven't watched Game of Thrones either.
Well, I just don't. Yeah. Well, no, I'll tell you why. That's probably the case, because I watched the Monday, watching the first season, watched the second season, third season, obviously, and then the new season. The show, I'm in this show because these characters are a lot of fun. The chemistry between the young cast is brilliant. You got David Harbour, you got Winona Ryder, all fantastic at what they do. But the chemistry between the cast is just ultimately flawless. Really, it's just beats. It's like watching a live concert. It just flows just so well. You're really engaged with it, and you just can't wait to see what next song is going to come up. So like with these kids are all talented. It feels like kind of like what Ghostbusters should have been, passing the torch years ago. They finally did it with Afterlife, but now it feels like this is like a Ghostbusters type show, and it takes inspiration from all those types of movies and shows as well with monsters. And this season is very much Nightmare on Elm Street, and Robert Englund makes a cameo appearance, which I thought was just really, really well done. He played Freddy Krueger, of course, and that was really, really cool. And each season it's got more of a horror vibe to it. It's got more gruesome. This season for me, though, season 4, I think is my favorite of all the seasons. I think the way it's been presented, and like Disney Plus series, it's cool to see Mandalorian, Loki, Falcon the Winter Soldier, but the episodes are like 40 minutes, 45 minutes long, and sometimes story arcs are rushed. Sometimes it doesn't flesh out characters or stories as much as it should. Here we're getting 1 hour episodes, 1 hour 10 episodes. We'll soon get a 2 hour finale. It feels like every single stone is turned to show you what's underneath, and every single thing is explained. Now, I've watched amazing shows in the past where things mysteries have never been explained to us as audiences. You know, there's been plot holes. Here in Stranger Things, it feels like everything is explained. Everything has a reason to it, and everything, if it's not being told now, it will eventually come back by the end of the season. And I've enjoyed the music. I've enjoyed the horror to it. I've enjoyed all the characters. The directing is fantastic. And this is why I'm a big fan of location. Of course, there is VFX, there's green screen and stuff like that. But there's a lot of location shooting on Stranger Things. There's a lot of cool camera work where the kids are on the bike and the sequences.
That shot.
It was so cool. Where
Yep.
transition from the upside down into the real world.
That was
on
amazing.
The bikes, that one. That was
Yeah, it was cool.
and that's what I'm talking about. The directors all have a personality. You know, Sean
Yes.
Levi is it Sean
Episode
Levi
4
comes
was done by him.
in?
Yeah,
He comes in.
Yeah, he's produced. He's been a producer of the entire series. Like he's helped.
And he's basically like, he knows how to work with
So
kids
he-
and the
he comes
chemistry.
in.
He's really good at that. He did Free Guy. Recently, he did Adam Project. And even in that, you know, the kid and Ryan Reynolds had really great chemistry.
Yeah, and he comes in, and different directors come in, and they have a personality. And the Duffer Brothers, Netflix should be tying them down for the next for their life. As well.
I feel like they'll
Please.
get scooped up by Marvel for
Keep it.
X-Men or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be cool. That would be really cool. I'm a big fan of these guys now after watching this. And the scene where Max and Vecna, is it Vecna to the character?
Vecna, yeah.
Monster. That scene, masterpiece. Love that scene. Very emotional. Where they do a flashback of all the kind of light moments she's had with her friends since she came to the town. Brilliant. And then the kind of the Watchmen score scene in 11 and Vecna was really well done as well. And really, look, I've really enjoyed my last week. I've been watching Stranger Things for the last week, and I've actually really enjoyed it. Now I don't know what to do with myself, but yeah, I was spoilers, but I saw like hints. I thought Max was going to die because of everyone was talking about the running up that hill, running up that mountain scene,
Yep.
and that the song. And I came across that song in a WWE promo years ago for doing like a promo, and that song was playing over one of the big matches. And I was like, I discovered this song years ago, and it's like, but this, I thought people were overhyping the scene, but they weren't. It was done beautifully. So I'm looking forward to July 1st to see how it all ends, and I hope this series continues. The budget, you can see that they're using the best cameras, the best everything, and it pays off. And this long form storytelling more as well, because you have the Disney Plus shows, and they just seem like flashes. It just seem like, oh, that's that story done. Next one. Here, everything is just fleshed out, and I love the long form storytelling.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is the 11 transition scenes from, you know, young 11 to her. I felt like that was really well done, and you know, the hard task to do here was going back to that, you know, whole thing, right, to the whole institute before 11, you know. So because that story was done in the first 3 seasons, but they had to create this entire prequel thing to add Vecna to it, right, because he's basically number 1. So you had to have, the problem arises that you had to have a even younger 11, you know, even younger Millie Bobby Brown. So how do you do that? So basically they created a memory type thing, you know, like Days of Future Past or something like that. You basically go into your, you know, younger self's memory, but they didn't have to keep it that way the entire time. So they basically made her be present in those memory scenes. So I thought that was brilliant. You know, it's just amazing what you can do with, you know, what you can do in film, and to do it effectively, I feel like it's a great achievement. So it's just a simple thing, you know, she's there so she doesn't have to be young 11 all the time. So that was very well done, I feel. Even the young 11, you know, CGI and the actor, whatever they did there, I felt was pretty good. It didn't take me out. It wasn't like a floating head thing. It was actually pretty well done. So I feel like, although number 1 is kind of, you know, weird for going after a young child that way, why is he battling this young child, you know? But still, it was really awesome to see that that's how he was thrown into the Upside Down and his origins. It was kind of like Anakin Skywalker, um, getting burned, his whole body burned and stuff like that. And also Dr. Manhattan, Manhattan. So yeah, I really liked it all till the end. The Victor Creel flashbacks were also pretty good. There was really good surprise there as well. That definitely got me. Like I doubted that this number one guy could possibly be Vecna. Somehow I didn't connect the dots, but I was kind of figuring that out. But I did not think that it would be that kid. Although they did have one scene where that kid was mentioned, shown, but I didn't suspect at all. It was so well done.
Yeah, I thought we got later on in the episode. I thought, oh, he's probably number one. But I didn't expect him to be Vecna. I didn't expect that twist. That was cool. And I'm wondering if he is the big bad of the Upside Down, or is there somebody else looming for season 5 and season 6? Because it's going to be very hard to find a better villain than Vecna, because he's terrifying. And the kills this season, where he just floats them into the air and just completely just dismantles their skeleton, it was very, very scary. And even the scenes with Hopper trying to take the metal chain off his ankles.
Oh, dude.
I mean, look at some of those scenes, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That was like, usually, they cut away from that stuff, right? But here they basically they kept the camera on it. Like, you have to watch this. But yeah, it was very well done. And that whole scene with the Demigorgon and stuff like that also was pretty well done. And I loved that guy, dude. The other guy from Game of Thrones, a man with no face. He was so good.
Enzo, yeah.
So yeah, Burkhan, what did you think of the show?
I fucking love it, man. For me, this is gonna be a weird thing to say, but I've always looked at Stranger Things as a type of show that I would make. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like, it's got things I do like, and it's got horror, it's got 80s music, it's got comedy, it's got superpowers, it's got kind of like what I think is the perfect hodgepodge of how to do proper kind of storytelling. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the fact that the Duffers have been able to pull that off with each season and somehow get better as each season goes by, it always just blows me away, because I know season 3, a lot of people consider season 3 kind of like the weakest season. I actually think it was my favorite season up until this point, just because I just liked that the story of season 3 was about them embracing the fact that the kids are growing up. They are getting older. And you see that develop further more into the season right here, which I absolutely like. And so, like, yeah, I could not be more happier with the way the season has gone down so far. I do agree. I think Sadie Sink is Max. She's the standout, to the point that I would say that this was a Max focus type of season. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that girl is a future star. I really do. I haven't seen Fear Street yet. I want to, but I think there are big things planned for her, as much as there are big things that are in store for Millie Bobby Brown and Finn Wolfhard. So yeah, like I said, they're so good in it. I also really liked Harbor as Hopper this time around, because I think in season 3, I kind of felt in season 3 they had dumbed down Hopper a bit. They kind of made him kind of an idiot in season 3, and I think in season 4 they brought back to, like, what I've always identified Hopper as. Yeah, a badass, but also he's like a broken kind of wreck of a man. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he always tries to be a badass, but he's just such a damaged guy. And I like that right here. They went kind of like back to that. Like, there's that great speech he makes about where he talks about his time at Vietnam and how it affected his family and stuff like that. Like, that hits you, man. And so that's so good. All that was when
he was saying all that, I was kind of like, okay, why are you saying all this right now? And then at the end he says that maybe Hawkins doesn't have a curse, maybe I am the curse. And that was just like, oh shit, dude. Like, this was his lowest point and he almost gave up. And then obviously the Enzo dude, I think his name is Dimitri, actually. Dimitri was pretty good. He basically turned around, and even he got fucked. So yeah, obviously he's gonna help Hopper now and have to get out. So yeah, I loved their dynamic as well, and obviously Winona Riders and the um, Murray guy.
Murray, yeah.
Dude, they were so good.
I've always seen that dude as the guy from the other guys. Like, have you seen that? Have you guys seen the other guys?
No.
Okay, so there's a part where Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, they go into Will Ferrell's ex-girlfriend's house to find out info about this flash drive. And the dude who plays Murray is married to his ex-wife, and he says to Will Ferrell at the end, he screams at him, "You get back in this house and make love to my wife."
Yeah, it's hilarious. So great.
But
I love that dude so much. So it's cool to see him get a bigger role this time around.
yeah, he was really funny. And look, usually when these shows do these side storylines in the background, I tend to not pay attention and forget it. But this was actually pretty compelling. Like, they both went on a road trip, and basically they had to get Hopper. Even Hopper just being stuck in that prison didn't feel like that was an uninteresting thing, but even that was pretty good. So I liked how everything was going pretty well. The only character they focused less on, and I kind of feel bad for him, was Jonathan. I feel like
I would say Jonathan, Mike, and Will. Like, they kind of put them as like bench warmers of this season.
I mean,
Will has been like a wasted character since season 1.
I think Will's big moment is coming, though. Like, they are kind of setting him up for that because he had a lot of scenes with Mike, and they had a fight and stuff, and then they got back. So I feel like he has a big moment by the end.
Do you know what was a really cool scene, really well shot, and it kind of reminded me of True Detective season 1 scene when Matthew McConaughey goes through he goes undercover, and there's a big show that happens in this estate where all these houses, and the camera is all one shot. The camera follows him running through the houses, away from the cops and away from like the big gang shootout. When the government come into the house, when the pizza's supposed to come. That scene was not expected that whatsoever. Really well directed.
It was awesome.
And one shot.
He was fucking good. Cool. Like, even those people were not expecting it, right? So it felt like that. Like, it came out of nowhere. The tone of that episode completely changed into this action scene type of thing. And yes, it was one of the highlights of the show. Definitely. And how good was that guy with the gun, dude? Like, he was giving headshots left and right to everyone. Damn, he was good.
That dude tapped into his inner John Wick, man. Just headshot after headshot.
Yeah, he kind of looked like Jim Gordon. So
kind of did,
from Gotham.
Actually.
Yeah.
Now I think about it. Yeah.
But look, I love this show. This is like to the point. I've now had so much faith in them right now that like they could not have topped the first 3 seasons, but they still did. So now I have complete faith in them. I hope they have a really good future ahead, because I would love to keep seeing what they make. Movies or whatever they want, more seasons. I'm definitely down for more seasons. At this point, I would have said that, oh, how can you top season 4? But I've learned not to make that mistake again. So, bring on season 5 or whatever you want to do. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that is the big question going forward, is that 5 is the final season, but it's kind of the question of like, how are you going to conclude this? Now, I remember ACS, hi ACS if you're watching, he had tweeted out around the weekend of Stranger Things that he thinks that because of how much longer the episodes have been, how great the effects are. Like, I mean, you see that all the money they spent is on screen. Like, all the effects look movie quality. I wish She-Hulk would learn from that, but but it's true. Like, it's true. The quality of it is so movie-like, And he brought up the theory that maybe season 5 isn't a season of TV, that it is a full movie to close out the series.
I mean, they can only go bigger than a 2 hour plus finale. So yeah, I hope it's a movie. I hope it gets
I'd make a
released.
trilogy of movies.
Trilogy. Oh, dude, I would be down for that.
I release one in January, one in the summer, and then one in Christmas.
That would be cool. That would be.
You know what?
That's what I do.
Maybe in 10 years they can do a movie because the kids will be grown up. It's like It Chapter 2, but first.
Oh, this is an ending. Like Ozark and Stranger Things are big viewership, and Netflix is losing subs as well. Stranger Things will return, and it will have Stranger Things : something that I don't see this ending anytime soon at all.
I could say it just turns to kind of like the CSI franchise, where it's like Stranger Things : Miami, or Stranger Things : London.
Let's hope the quality doesn't go down.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be the big thing. But yeah, I'm excited for season 2. I mean, this part 2 of the season. And I cannot wait. We're just, I think, 25 days away, right?
25, yeah, right. It's beginning right on July 1st. Yep.
All right, cannot wait. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic, which is Amber Heard again. But this time it probably could be a good news. But the story basically is that after last time, when we heard that her screen time has been reduced to like 10 minutes in Aquaman 2, people were asking, why not just cut her off from the movie? Because you're basically risking your movie with just 10 minutes, for just 10 minutes of her. And maybe they actually thought about it. And now, especially after the end of the trial, the report basically is that, well, it's not an actual official report, but insiders have been claiming that, all of her scenes are now being cut. Which is, I feel that's a really good thing. Not just because, it's Amber Heard, whatever. I don't give a fuck about that. But because this movie was at the risk of failing miserably because of her. That's the only concern I had, because, you at least have her throughout the movie like you had before, or you just cut her off. You have like 10 minutes of her. Why would you put your movie at risk just for 10 minutes? It's not like Warner Brothers is known for having complete director's visions intact for every DCEU movie. They cut stuff all the time, so what's another 10 minutes, right? So if she's not that important to the story, to the core story of Aquaman 2, where you just have 10 minutes of her, why even have that, right? You can just cut her and make up some random stuff in reshoots or whatever. So maybe that's the case right now. As of right now, the insiders are reporting that that's the case. I feel it's a good move. What do you think, Maher?
Yes, and can you see Lewis? He's here now as well.
Oh, is he? Let me add him 1 second. You keep going, I'll just add him.
I don't want to see my beautiful face.
Okay, Mera, I've been following the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, basically, because I was just at home and it was on in the background, just watching it and stuff. And it was interesting to see, because a lot of the accusations she had against Johnny Depp, a lot of it came out to be false, and a lot of it came out to be lies, while Johnny Depp was embracing his drug life, his alcohol life, the kind of dark side to him. But he kind of proved he never hit her, he never assaulted her like that, and he won. Well, the two of them kind of won, but Johnny Depp had to try and win the claims and stuff like that. Amber Heard has to pay him more money. It's probably never going to be paid. It's probably never going to be paid. Reputation back, and I think he has. But her being removed, Johnny Depp. They removed Johnny Depp from Fantastic Beasts. They fired him. They brought in Matt. I don't know if that worked or not. I don't know if that worked or not. Reception of the movie or not. He was fired. He was fired because bad PR. The movie in their eyes. And then Disney hired Six thing because of the same thing. Margot Robbie coming in for a female reboot too well. It's just her. It's just her. Now I think Johnny Depp and her should be in their own movie together. Johnny Depp should be brought back, I think. But yeah, Amber Heard. Look, I don't think she's like one of my favorite actors, and I haven't seen her in enough stuff. I've seen her in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Aquaman 1, and she was fine. She's cool. She's all right. She's not like terrible or anything. She's fine. But I don't think the movies die or live if she's in them that kind of way. I don't think they need her necessarily. But yeah, look, a lot of bad stuff came out. There's a lot of bad press around her big time right now. So it's going to affect the movie and the online perception of the movie. And usually audiences, I would say, probably wouldn't care about this kind of stuff. But this trial was televised. It was all over the internet. It was memes everywhere, TikToks, YouTube channels. It was embraced big time, positively and negatively. And she was on the negative side of a lot of that. So we heard Grace Randolph say that she was only in 10 minutes in the movie. And then I kind of said when that happened as well, a lot of us did as well, that if she's only in 10 minutes, I bet you it's easy to cut her out for the entire movie. And I'm guessing that they kind of shot around her when they actually shot the movie. They probably have her off on her own side mission, which could be easily cut out of the movie. It looks like that could be the case right now. I don't think they'll get in a replacement Mera just yet, like a Emilia Clarke or anything like that to recast. But I wouldn't be surprised if she only has a tiny, tiny scene or reference in the movie. It's a shame in a way if you're a Mera fan, but to me, I'm just going in to see Patrick Wilson and Aquaman 3, so I don't think she's that big of a loss. But I have to say, I liked her in the Snyder Cut. I thought her accent was cool and she looked cool, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing her. But if Warner Brothers got rid of Johnny Depp for the same kind of situation, then why shouldn't they get rid of Amber Heard? Double standards? I don't know.
Yeah, like for me, I don't feel like I don't think she's definitive Mera or something like that. I feel like she is. If she's gone, I won't miss her, basically, is what I'm saying. But I'm not opposed to seeing her. Like, I won't boycott or anything. I won't hate her on screen as long as she's, good on screen. I'm fine with it. But financially, for Warner Brothers, from a business point of view, I think it's a bad move to have her. Just even if it's 10 minutes or whatever. I feel like cutting her off would be a better option at this point, which is apparently what they're doing. So I hope so. But anyway, welcome, Lewis, for the first time on the show. How are you doing?
Thank you.
It's been a long time.
I'm doing good. Yes, it's been such a long time. It's just been all hands on deck in terms of stuff I'm doing in my life. And that's been sad, but it's been nice to see that you guys have carried on and keep smashing out this show all the time. And I would have loved to have been here for the whole thing, but as I was talking to Short earlier today, he was just like, "Yeah, here's the things we're going to talk about." I'm like, I haven't seen any of these. I'm so behind. Like yesterday, I was feeling kind of ill, and I was like, I'm just going to get in bed and I'm going to start watching season 3 of The Boys, and then I was out like a light second I got in bed. I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen. So I'd love to catch up with all the things that I've missed.
If anyone doesn't know, I was watching myself and Lewis had our own show, the Movie Buffs. Channel is still there.
And then I stole you from him.
And we'll come back around to it.
Yeah, yeah. You're poaching my best talent. I gotta start.
No, but we had our own show and we did interviews on it. We did weekly videos and topics and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. It's just personal life got in the way. Lewis was busy with school and other stuff, and I was busy, and we just it didn't happen as much as we wanted it to, but we definitely will. We'll make something happen. We'll get back going because it was a lot of fun and we watched it. So
yeah, it was really enjoyable, and like that's why when I was asked about this, I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to come back on because this stuff is a lot of fun and just kind of shooting the shit about movies and shows and all kind of pop culture stuff is a blast. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. Thank you guys.
Awesome, Lewis. So your first topic ever on this show will be Amber Heard. What do you think of it?
That I've got to tackle. So like, I think like a lot of people, I just didn't give a shit about this at all. But it seemed to like infiltrate every element of like social media and online discussion. Like you couldn't avoid it. And there's extremely serious stuff going on. And this was an extremely serious thing. It's a case about defamation. It's about domestic abuse. It's about really serious shit. And the thing that I found the most unsettling about it, to be honest, was like the kind of like the stan and fandom culture that swarmed behind it. It was so toxic online. I was seeing on Instagram, I'd be getting recommendations of videos from the trial, and it would be people like standing certain lawyers and talking about like, oh my god, this lawyer's so good at her job, and this guy's so great at his job, and they're so bad. Oh my god, look at this moment where they make eye contact. Like, there was this really like weird fascination with the whole thing that was really kind of unsettling. And I get like people, especially in the Depp camp, they've grown up with Johnny Depp movies, and he's a great actor. But I think a lot of people kind of miss the mark, and that this is a serious legal trial about defamation and abuse, and like this is not something to be like making fucking TikToks about. This is serious. In terms of the implications for the projects that the respective actors are in, I think because of the fact that it got so blown up online, there were millions of people watching the verdict. I think because of that, it's like, yeah, I think the safest bet is to just drop them from their respective projects. If Amber Heard is removed from Aquaman entirely, I mean, it's surely gonna have an impact on the movie because, even if she's only in it for like 10 minutes, maybe it's okay. That the movie will survive without her scenes. But you can't help but feel that it might be quite obvious when there's just like a scene, like you feel like there's a scene missing. Like you should have talked to somebody about this new fight that he's got coming up. He needs to talk to Mera about it, or and yeah, as I just saw in the chat as well, like the idea of refilming, I think Warner Bros. Are kind of screwed either way. That that is going to cost a lot of money, even if it's just 10 minutes worth of scenes.
Exactly.
Especially when it's a movie like Aquaman that's so VFX heavy. I don't know. Luckily, I think a lot of people enjoyed the original Aquaman for reasons other than Amber Heard. So I have no real side in the story because I don't know enough about it. Because it would be my safe answer. But I wouldn't be surprised if they cut her entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, like look, you bring up a great point. Like she wasn't even the highlight of the first movie. So character wise, I don't think there was a strong a strong foundation built anyway. So I feel like if this character is missing from the second movie, I feel audience wouldn't mind it that much. But having her in there could financially, affect the movie. And yes, even removing her could be an issue because maybe the story actually she plays an important part in the story, and that could be somewhat an issue. But like I said, it's not the first time that a WB movie a plot line was cut and stuff like that happened. So this time they would have a valid reason to do so, especially after she kind of threw Walter Marda and the other WB execs under the bus, saying they cut me out, they reduced my role and stuff like that. So Hamada just basically threw her under the bus as well. Like he basically said she had no chemistry with Momoa, and we had to make it seem like they had chemistry because of editing. And then the lawyer or whoever were questioning him basically said, but don't you do that for every movie? And then Hamada basically didn't have any answer. So that's also a two-sided thing because yes, you cut around those weaker moments in film editing anyway, so it wasn't like it was done specifically for her. So but she's not the greatest actress either, so I can understand that point. But yeah,
it's funny because Johnny Depp, of course, had issues with drugs and alcohol, and there was like the Amber Heard side were trying to bring in that he'd show up late for set, he wouldn't know his line and stuff like that. And then they were questioning Johnny Depp about, didn't you, John, or weren't you wearing a earpiece because you didn't know your lines for movies? Was this because you were drunk and drugs and stuff like that? And Johnny Depp was like, well, Marlon Brando wore an earpiece. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. So it's just funny. Johnny Depp, I thought, handled himself very well, just because he's an actor. He was acting, of course, and he has a personality to him, and stuff like that. But that's what it was. It was like, who can present themselves better? Who can maybe tell lies a little bit better than the other person in a way? But Johnny Depp did clear his name on a lot of stuff. And I think what's going against Amber Heard is there's not one piece of recording where Johnny Depp admitted to hitting Amber Heard, but Amber Heard admitted to hitting Johnny Depp, and it's on recording. So like that's abuse. physical violence, whatever way you want to look at it. And she admitted to it, so that might be going against her as well. So, look, I'm not going to boycott any movie because an actor's in it. I watch them because of how good they are at their work, not because of how they walk their dog or stuff like that. I don't really care what they do with themselves. I like some actors personally, their online presence, but that's all it is. It's just an online avatar presence. I don't know what they're like at home, and I never will know what they're like at home. I just want to watch the movies because I like them in movies. That's it.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see kind of like how, I mean, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if you can equate the two, but kind of seeing what's going on with Ezra Miller at the moment, and kind of how he seems to be living kind of like a GTA life, where he just kind of goes and assaults somebody, and then he goes to prison, and he comes out and assaults somebody again, goes to prison, or they, sorry, but it's like, every single big tentpole thing that they have coming out is just getting blasted by this drama behind the scenes, and it's like they just want to get some momentum post Zack Snyder, and now they're getting hit by like, oh well, your sequel to the biggest movie you've ever made financially is getting blasted by all this drama that everybody knows about, and then the Ezra Miller stuff is still going on, and that film's been through production hell ever since it started.
The Ezra thing, I think, is kind of smaller than this because he's not that famous.
Yeah.
And his issues aren't even big.
YouTube every day as well.
Yeah, and it's not even, his issues weren't even that big compared to what this was. He already went to jail and they already bailed him out, stuff like that, the next day. And it was Hawaii, and there's more to that story than we know. And Warner Brothers clearly said that they are backing him up and they won't be replacing him and stuff like that, mainly because they literally cannot afford to, because he's playing 3 characters in that movie, so it's impossible. So yeah, that will be done. But what this means for Amber Heard for Aquaman 2 is that she might be cut off, but they cannot recast her in the movie itself. She will be cut off, and in the next movie maybe they'll recast her. But if Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 happens, and she was in the Nightmare, clearly Zack doesn't need to bring Mera in, because the Nightmare is basically different timelines anyway. So every time they reset, they have a different set of characters. So Mera doesn't need to be there. But even if Zack needs Mera, he can obviously recast as well. But I feel like Zack would rather change the character itself, like bring in Black Canary. Maybe Journey is already liking this universe, so why not bring her? She's badass. You can do that. But yeah, I feel like that won't affect the Justice League 2 movie that much, but Aquaman 3 it might affect much. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I think the most likely outcome is they just cut her entirely, because I think, as you guys have touched on, like, she is only in it for like 10 minutes of screen time or whatever. As we were saying, the things that really sold the first one were Aquaman, Ocean Master, Black Manta. Like, if they're in the next movie, I think everyone's happy, really. I think those are the big selling points of the first one. And I think if you had to pick one to go out of those 3 in Mera, I think most people would probably pick her. Even without like all the trial stuff, to be honest. She wasn't bad in the first one, but it's just like the other 3 were just like so badass that you just had to have them in the movie. But yeah, I think Warner Bros. Have to be looking at it financially. That's the only angle they look at anything, really, is to say, okay, well, chances are she's still in the movie when it comes out. Like, you saw what happened to online chatting and discourse on social media. Like, this trial was everywhere. You know for a fact this movie's going to get blasted by Depp stans and whatnot, just trying to and people who just hate Amber Heard. It's got to be the safest bet for them. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on her just getting taxed entirely. I would believe the rumors.
Yeah, Rokan?
I think cutting Mera out is the best course to go. And I say this as somebody who, I absolutely love Mera in the comic book. She is she's an incredible, like, badass character, and I don't want to see an actress taint that character at all. I think cutting her stuff out and then just going for a straight up recast is the best course of action, because you can still have Mera, you can still bring Mera in for a future movie, just have it be just a different actress. And I'd heard kind of like theories that maybe they're going to kill Mera off in Aquaman 2, which I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want Amber Heard to play her again if if it's going to taint the film. But I don't want the character of Mera to kind of like be killed off and then be like, okay, here's this somebody else now. So I think cutting her out and just recasting for a future film is kind of like the best course to go. And it could be Emilia Clarke. I've always thought Riley Keough could be a great Mera, personally. I know people want her as Poison Ivy, but I think Riley Keough's a better fit for Mera in my book. But I think they're looking at it like they don't want this movie to be tainted more than it already has, and it's hard. It's a ballsy thing to kind of do. Kind of like have the Aquaman 2 posters all over Times Square, and you're gonna have Mera on one of the posters. Like people are gonna be like, I'm not gonna see that movie if that's the case.
The good thing is the trailer didn't come out yet.
That exactly. We've only seen just bits and pieces of footage, and it's just been mainly just stuff with Aquaman and Black Manta and Ocean Master. So I think this is just kind of like the best course to go. That's all I will say on that front. Just the fact that I feel like that's just the better approach to kind of like take from all this to not taint anything. I do agree with Lewis on one thing on the fact that it got really weird and kind of sickening to me to see that trial be memed in TikTok to hell. Because I didn't see that shit with like, you didn't see people doing memes and TikToks of like, like the fucking Casey Anthony trial or any of these types of like major trials. It was just for this one for some reason. So it's why I never spoke up. It's why I never kind of like talked about it, just because I was just like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to imbue myself into that.
Yeah, same. I didn't watch anything from that. Just maybe some clips of that popped up on Instagram sometimes or something like that. But apart from that, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I don't give two shits about any of this. But since this shit is in our movies that we love, we are forced to talk about this, and it's sad that.
No, I understand. Yeah. I totally get it.
I like courtroom dramas and stuff like Better Call Saul, Lincoln Lawyer.
Of course you do, Maher.
Hey, A Time to Kill is a masterpiece, okay?
Yeah, A Time to Kill, yeah. But no, that's Joel Schumacher, Matthew McConaughey. That's fantastic. But no, I always loved even The Judge or Robert Downey Jr. I love courtroom movies. And now to see one I can watch on YouTube with one of the biggest movie stars in the world, I'm gonna watch this. So I watched it, and I found it fascinating at times because I don't know, I just like watching the lawyers kind of do their lawyering.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
you're one of those.
But overall, overall, man, I just like I said, this is just the best course to take, and I do agree. Maybe if Justice League 2 and 3 happens, you could do that actress that you recast Mera with that actress, or I think the better option personally is to do Black Canary, just because Journey's my wife and I have to support the wife.
I mean, she supported the Snyder cut, so Zack should bring her in.
Absolutely.
And just imagine how badass she would be in that movie.
Can you imagine Canary cries to parodying it, and you see Steven's getting exploding.
She was already badass in Birds of Prey. So just imagine how she'd be in not just a Justice League movie, but in a Nightmare World. So yeah.
Fingers crossed, buddy.
We're talking about stuff here. It's not going to happen ever.
Let me dream, dude.
I'm only messing. I believe.
All right. So speaking of that, we will jump on to our final topics of today, starting with the big news, which made me real happy this week. So basically, on 1st June, news came out that Toby Emmerich was getting replaced, which kind of was expected, but it wasn't sure because of Zaslav's connection to him. He is friends with Toby, and he still praised Toby in these news, but Toby kind of stepped down, which is basically he was asked to move, and he was replaced by Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdy. These two are from MGM, and they were ex New Line execs at one point. And also, an interesting fun fact. Toby Emmerich actually replaced Michael DeLuca from New Line, in 2001, and now basically he got his payback. DeLuca replaced Toby Emmerich, and he's gone now. But look, apart from all the DC stuff, I still was the champion of getting Toby removed. And I will always believe that he was a detriment to the company. He literally ruined WB's image when he was there. He made a lot of poor choices. WB was completely different, back before Sujihara. Like, it was regarded as the best one, and all the best films came out of WB, and all the best talents were at WB. Ironically, Alan Horn, before he got Disney to the success that it is now, he was at WB doing the same thing, and he was the one that brought WB to that success. Like, he worked with Zack Snyder as well back then, and Nolan and all that. So yeah, look, WB in these past few years isn't on the level it used to be, and I feel like David Zaslav came in, and just within the first month itself, he made so many changes that he basically said, "What the fuck are you doing here? You have Warner Brothers and all this IP, and why are you not making use of it, right?" And we always complained about them not using their biggest IP, which is DC. And the first day he comes in, he tells that DC is their biggest IP, and they'll be focusing more on DC, and they will be focusing more on Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, all that stuff, right? So it was very hopeful, but obviously, us, we are WB DC fans, and we are so gone down the road right now that we believe things only when we see it happening, right? So obviously I was very cautious back then, but seeing everything from him, every decision made, I feel more and more hopeful that he is basically the one that would bring WB back to his glory. So all the CW shit going down, but Riverdale's still there. I don't know why, but Gotham Knights is also there. But yeah, Superman and Lois I would now consider HBO Max thing, right? Or would that still be under that CW axe?
I don't know, but it's doing well enough online and viewership and stuff. And Zaslav seems to have a hard on for Superman, so maybe he likes the show.
Imagine if he's the Tyler Hoechlin is my Superman guy. That would be really funny.
I wouldn't be imagining that.
Yeah, but basically the news is that he replaced Toby Emmerich, and okay, so to explain it in such a way, I would compare this to Disney, right? So Warner Brothers basically right now, Warner Brothers Discovery basically right now is divided into 3 main divisions, right? The first one is WB New Line, which it's Warner Brothers Pictures and New Line Pictures both under one single division, and that will be run by these 2 people. And then you have a DC division separately from that, which is like the greatest news for us fans. We have been asking for the same thing since like forever, and it finally happened. And now DC division will not be under the WB movie execs anymore. Even if Toby was still the head there, it wouldn't have mattered because DC is now separate. So that's a really good thing. But he's gone. Now we have these 2 guys, they'll handle WB, and DC will be handled by its own head, which has not been appointed yet. I feel like that's a really good thing. Whoever they appoint, that's a good thing. But I hope they get a good person who has good business knowledge as well as good DC knowledge. If they don't have good DC knowledge, they can always get an advisor like Jim Lee or anyone like that. That would be great to have on team. But yes, this is basically the best news for me. Toby getting fired, DC getting separate division. Like it's awesome, and I cannot help but think that DC's best days are ahead. And especially after 2017, Wonder Woman would be the last one I would consider the proper OG DCU when it was at its peak. Then Justice League happened, then all the others, it just, it was heights and troughs. So we need consistency. But yeah, I feel like they can get back to that. The other thing with that is that, you have the other division you have is animation, right? So animation is the third division and the final division. They again don't have a they don't have a head for that, and they will probably get one, just like Pixar has and Disney Animation has. So they are basically structuring this like Disney, which I feel like is the smart move, because Disney basically has Marvel Studios separate, and they have the Disney division separate, and they have Pixar division separate, right? So that's working for them, and it's a proven basically proven structure for years. So why not just learn from that and build a structure that seems financially viable for your own company? And I feel like David Zaslav also is doing a smart move here by bringing in Alan Horn as an advisor, and even consulting with Bob Iger. They have brought success to Disney as well, and of course they would have some great tips. Like everyone, even if you ask Kevin Feige, what are the top 5 things you would give an advice for DC, and he would definitely have notes to give, right? So it's good that he was listening, he's open to it, and I'm glad that things are working out this way. So before we move on to other stuff in this article, what do you guys think of this news? Yeah.
DC and Warner Bros. Yeah, so they do seem to be kind of turning a corner, and DC's kind of in a bit of a limbo at the moment, where they've got, they do have several solo projects kind of happening every now and again. They've got what do they have? I mean, they have like the James Gunn stuff, the Suicide Squad, but they've got like occasionally other things like would be a good example, like the Blue Beetle film coming out. So they're not like in this huge world building phase at the moment like they were with Snyder in charge.
Yeah.
And so they are kind of, now is probably kind of like the best time for all of this stuff to be happening, and then they can get in these new individuals and say, okay, now it's time to try and build something. I don't know what they'll do. I think the easiest thing to do would be to say, okay, let's bring in, let's make a new Superman movie. with Henry Cavill.
Which we will get to in a bit.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, one of the things that I haven't really heard in a while is Henry announcing that he's in any new projects. Like, I used to kind of hear that maybe like a year ago, I would hear and see, like, oh, Henry Cavill's going to be in this movie, it's going to be in this TV show. And it's kind of gone quiet. Obviously, it's probably because he's filming those things. But it's kind of, you get a little bit hopeful that maybe you'll see it. But it just seems to be the obvious place to start, right? Really is a good way to kind of gauge how people are responding to the DC universe, because we've had a lot more experimental projects with things like Peacemaker, which were extremely well received. It's now just a case of saying, okay, well, in terms of these big money makers like the Justice League or the Trinity, things are kind of in a weird place. If there was no pandemic and Wonder Woman 84 had been released in the theaters normally, I think they'd be in a much better way of understanding where they are financially.
True.
Because that, the movie was like, it was like okay on release, and then everyone just hates it now. But financially, there's really nothing to go off. And as we've seen, like, we were all desperately scraping for like third-party metrics from like Sampa TV to try and work out how successful any DC projects were, and it was all just a big shit show. Like HBO, at no point did HBO Max go, yeah, like, look, all these people watch the show. So there's real kind of no way of knowing how well things are going, for us at least at the moment. So I think it's just a case of, maybe over the next like month or so, see who else goes, see who else comes back. And I would be very surprised if there weren't any like big announcements soon, like, something like a Henry Cavill Superman movie, which I know we'll talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you want to tell people. You want to say there's a new Superman movie with this person attached to direct. Think about the Christopher McQuarrie Superman movie that we nearly had. Like, goddamn, you had that in the palm of your hand. And so the one thing, long story short, I'd say the one thing that I'm hoping for the most is that, people like Zaslav or whatever his name is are coming in and saying, like, holy shit, you guys did such a bad job managing some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Like, this is 101. You have Superman, make a Superman movie. You have Batman, look at how well Matt Reeves' Batman movie did. Like, use these characters. But hey, at the same time, I'm still really excited because I see things like the BTS pictures of Blue Beetle, and I'm like, holy shit, that looks awesome. But
I feel like Zaslav already said those words without saying those words. He basically is looking for another DC head while Hamada is still there. So he's basically saying, you're shit at your job, I'm replacing you. So
just telling him his days are numbered, basically.
Yep.
Look, I is my camera fixed?
Yes.
I dropped out. I kind of froze.
Yes.
I think these are the changes we've all wanted on my own. I talked about it on my own channel. I talked about it on Movie Buffs with Lewis. I've talked about it here, online. We need change with these guys, and we will know if the real problem was the creators or the suits when the next few years happens, because we have new people in now, and hopefully there's more freedom towards these directors and writers and stuff like that. But I don't know what DC is going to look like in a few years in terms of the DC universe, but it's a good sign that Zaslav is very into the Trinity, which should be the Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor of the DC universe that Marvel has been building up. And they should be. So but look, it's exciting, all the changes and stuff. We'll see what happens. Maybe we could get the air cut. Maybe we could get Zack Snyder's Justice League too. But there's other very interesting projects there as well. The Batman Reeves world. Todd Phillips seems to be very much in discussion with David Zaslav, which we'll talk about, which I find very fascinating and very exciting. And and Lewis talked about it as well. There's different kind of DC universes. You got the CW, Superman Lois. You got Doom Patrol. You've got Gotham Knights, which we're all excited for. Got the theatrical stuff. There's so much going on. There's something for everybody. That's what I love about DC, because there's some R-rated stuff.
Let's not make Gotham Knights into another Morbius.
I think it's doing that by its own volition.
Please,
I
God.
don't think anybody else is having to do anything to make people not watch Gotham Knights.
Dude, I can't take another situation like that again, man. I just can't.
That was the most
I'm
confusing thing,
loving it.
because like I had no idea that this TV show was even a thing, and then I just saw a trailer for it, and I felt like I was in some kind of fever dream. I was like, there's a game coming out called Gotham Knights, and this is like completely irrelevant. Like somebody just fucking killed Bruce Wayne in the streets. Like what?
That show
Like,
is so getting cancelled. The only reason it
Don't say
wasn't
that,
announced because it's already made and they have to release it. So that's the only thing I think.
It's getting
Yeah.
it's getting a season 1 and it's not getting renewed
Yep.
for sure. But
Watch
hey,
it
who
be
knows?
like a-
We've got to be
It's not
open-minded. It might be
Look,
amazing.
look,
You never know.
Look, those comic book shows from like the early 2000s that doesn't even get a full season. It gets like 6 episodes and boom, it's canceled.
It's just like
I
release
was-
them.
I was there. I was
20
there
minutes.
I was there in the early 2000s for the Birds of Prey show, and that's what happened to it. I would not imagine if that happened to to this piece of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like a very strange project that nobody really asked for. But I think with all the new recent announcements, like a load of CW shows have been cancelled recently. Am I right in thinking that?
Yep.
So I think it might just be we've already paid for this. Might as well release it because people might love it. I doubt I'll watch it. I'm not really into any of the CW stuff, but I don't know. Just the trailer,
How do you
not really
look
kind of
worse
super
than what's
interested in.
already out there? Like how do you go worse than Flash is right now? I mean, at one point Flash was awesome, but right now it's not. It's like unwatchable. But how do you go worse from that? That's my question.
They should have kept Legends of Tomorrow because
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know. No, but like what I was trying to say, like it's very exciting going into this next phase of DC. Of course, we'd all love the Snyderverse restored, but that might not be the case. We could see Zack Snyder working in the DC Black Label, doing a movie there. We could see Zack Snyder never do a DC movie again. You just don't know what's going to happen. I'd actually put a bet on Zack Snyder doing a Marvel movie before he does a DC movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So look, I hope, like I don't know these suits, these people. They're all rich people. I'm not going to wish them the best luck. It's their job. They should be doing all these studios and stuff like that. I just want to watch good movies. So
He just saw The Boys and he was like, "I'm Billy Butcher.
yeah,
Do your job."
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, dude. So yeah. Look, okay, cool. New people, new suits. But is it just a different face in the same suit? We'll see.
Yeah.
We will see.
It's a very dangerous game, and I think it's kind of like a similar lesson to learn from the Amber Heard trial. It's just to and Johnny Depp trial. It's just to not worship the ground that celebrities walk on, because chances are they're just fucking idiots
Yeah.
with money. That's it. That's the only difference between you and them, is that they just have a lot of money, and chances are they're going to do things that will infuriate you. You know, it's just the hydra of executives. You're just replacing them with the same. We could be optimistic.
Yeah.
Who knows? Might be that these shows are fantastic, and like I, for one, remember when the Peacemaker show was kind of announced, I was like, huh? And then I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm trying to be optimistic for the future, guys, you know?
Yeah. Work on. What do you think of our beloved Toby Emmerich stepping down?
Yeah, I wish I was close to my fridge right now because I would have gotten some drinks and partied from hearing that news again. But yeah, I mean, look, this has been a long time coming, considering the fact that he did kind of fuck WB like right into the dirt when he got a bigger type of role, because of the fact that, WB, like you said, it was known as the director studio. Like, it was a place where a lot of directors could come in and make their projects and not get interfered. You know what I mean? It's not like, I would not think that like Dark Knight or Watchmen or The Town could have been made under this current regime from WB.
Absolutely not.
It would, they just would not let it.
Unless you have a lot of sand in your movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, Toby Emmerich was like a big producer on like that. That was one of his babies, and it won Oscars, to be fair to him. So he kind of goes out on a good note.
But
to be fair to Dune, though, that's already an established IP, and it's also Denis Villeneuve. But again, credit where it's due. He did greenlight
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, but even so, like there was still conflicts with them with that regarding that. Like, you know, Denny didn't want it to be on HBO Max, and they didn't care. They're kind of like they're kind of like, we're putting in HBO Max regardless. So you still had conflicts like that. But yeah, but even kind of going back when Emmerich took over New Line, and I'd read stories about this recently that he had really screwed up a lot of New Line's movies, like. When Michael DeLuca has always been known as a very director-friendly studio exec. You know, he greenlit Magnolia, he greenlit Seven, he greenlit like
Lord of the Rings.
Austin Powers.
He was on the
Lord of the Rings, yeah. Like those are all very director-friendly type of projects, and he, you know, was very adamant in getting Frey versus Jason made because he was like, you know, we're New Line. We've got the two biggest horror icons in the planet in our studio. Let's actually do a Frey versus Jason movie. Let's actually take advantage of that. And so they did. And, you know, he wanted to market it like it was a big event. Like he wanted it to be like a kind of a monumental type of thing to it. And when he got canned from New Line, he got replaced by Toby Emmerich. Emmerich insisted on, first off, not having it come out in the summer. He wanted it to be out in the fall, which you're like, okay, it's a horror film, whatever. But he cut back on a lot of the marketing budget. He just wanted to be just right out there with little fanfare because, according to him, he doesn't like horror movies.
What does he like?
I don't know.
Justice League?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a horror movie.
Oh, yeah. That movie still gives me nightmares. So credit, it works. But yeah, so he did that. He gave that also treatment with Jason X, which Jason X is not a masterpiece of a movie. It is a crappy, goofy, Jason Voorhees movie. But the movie was originally supposed to come out in 2001. And he wanted to push it back to 2002 because he just wanted it just to get out there with little fanfare, just have it be done with it. So he just does not. I don't really think he takes a lot of projects that seriously. He just looks at it just as just kind of like whether or not it has commercial appeal, and he judges on that merit alone. And if there's something that he personally doesn't like, he will just sweep it under the rug. And that is a shit way to make movies, especially when it's IPs like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, and now with Justice League, with DC characters and so forth. So the fact that they ditch him finally and they got Michael DeLuca, who, like I said, he's a very director-friendly guy as he was on New Line. He was very director-friendly during his time at MGM. Like, he insisted that No Time to Die be delayed and not get a streaming release because he's like, this should be made for a movie theater. And you watch No Time to Die in the movie theater, it is made for that, And
it made a lot of money.
Absolutely, it was one of the highest grossing movies of last year, which that says a lot, being very post-pandemic.
Yeah, and also I think they worked recently on Licorice Pizza. I don't think that was financially that great, but a lot of people loved that movie, and it was it had Oscar buzz to it.
It's a fantastic movie, and he worked with Paul Thomas Anderson again because he greenlit Boogie Nights and Magnolia, and he greenlit Licorice Pizza. But yeah, the point is, Michael DeLuca has always had like the backs of directors. So I'm glad that a guy like him is coming on board. I'm being cautiously optimistic because the truth is, who knows what could happen. We could get an Ayer cut or a Snyder cut, or Snyder cut, Snyderverse restoration, things like that. Who knows? But I just want a better kind of like studio and everyone. I want Nolan to come back to Warner Brothers and make and repair that divorce. You know what I mean? I want like Ben Affleck to go back and work with them again. I want Clint Eastwood, all of them to come back again and work with them and Warner Brothers. But that's a bridge that has to be rebuilt and so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. And look, another thing that was in this article was, it was mentioned that uh, Zaslav and Todd Phillips had discussions about DC, and he consulted with him as well. Um, and that's another great thing, because one of the things I was wondering was that, why don't you have wait, what just happened?
Like a duck quacking noise that I just heard.
Vecna's here.
We are in the upside down. Okay, now we are back. Sorry about that. I don't know why that happened, but yeah. Another news from this was that they had discussions with Todd Phillips, and he is getting advice from him. So I was wondering, when Joker came out, why don't you have more Black Label movies? Because that's such a great idea. That's one thing again that sets DC apart from Marvel. That you have this separate label where you can make non-shared cinematic universe movies. That's such a great idea to have, and such a great financial success you had with Joker as well. So this was a no-brainer to me, right? Like, they should have gotten right next day. They should have gotten the meeting room and discussed the future projects. Like, the next 3 projects should have been announced from the Black Label, but nothing happened. Like, Joker 2 is still in development, and even that is not coming. So it's been terrible from them all around, and I just feel like everything that came out from the Zaslav era is great news after great news. So even this is a great news for me. I feel like getting the Black Label running again would be a great idea. I would not want Todd Phillips to be the DC division head, because he's a filmmaker. He should make films. So him being a producer for all the Black Label films, though, that I would be okay with, because he has great ideas. He knows how to get these projects made and stuff like that. So discussing these stuff with him, I would be completely okay with. And he's a filmmaker first, so obviously the film has to be good. You can't just bring in Mr. Freeze and make a crap movie out of it. You have to make a great movie. So I would love for him to be around, and I'm glad to hear that he was mentioned here. Even though it's not like Superman or Batman related, he was still, mentioned as an important part for Zaslav, and I like that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, like this role is more important because Kevin Feige, Pedro Pascal, or not Pedro Pascal, Amy Pascal, that would be interesting. Kathleen Kennedy, they're so important, but it doesn't work for them all the time. Kevin Feige is probably the one with the best, most win rate. To find somebody who is a Kevin Feige is nearly impossible. Amy Pascal, Kathleen Kennedy have wins, but a lot of losses too. So this is an important role. And Todd Phillips, I don't want him in that role. It shouldn't be a director. It should be somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, like Amy Pascal, like Kevin Feige, who can work with the talent, like Dave Filoni, like Jon Favreau, and work it that way. So that is such an important role. I don't know who it's going to be, who it should be, but this is probably the most important one for the future of DC. But Todd Phillips is an advisory addition, advising on the DC movies. He has a great box office record with General. And he's a great director, and that's important. He can tell a great director can tell any story. So Joker was a hit. I think his idea of Black Label, Bane, maybe characters like that, Scarecrow, could be very interesting, very unique, and I hope they go that direction. But will they? I don't know. But him as a big producer, I think would be a great addition. Let him do it. He created magic with Joaquin Phoenix, and maybe he can bring some other director in to create magic with another artist and give us something very unique and different. So I love the idea. I think this gives me more hope of getting something. I love Zack Snyder's world and the darker, grittier version of it all. But this gives me more hope that we get more stuff like that if Todd Phillips is involved instead of somebody like, I don't know, some other director,
Imagine if he gets Scorsese to do one, because he almost got that for Joker. So imagine if he actually straight up directs like a, banker or something from Gotham, and the movie is just focused on him or something like that. It would be cool. Or maybe just a Falcone movie, just not from the Batman.
Oh, a Departed Falcone movie. Oh,
yeah,
Scorsese, that would be just insane.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't given him the keys to making a Penguin film. I feel like that just is more of his sensibilities.
Right?
Yeah.
It would be awesome. But yeah, what do you think, Rokan?
I mean, I agree. Todd Phillips. I mean, look, I love Todd Phillips's work on Joker and Hangover and Old School, and I honestly think Starsky and Hutch and Road Trip's underrated, hilarious movies. So yeah, I mean, look, I think the idea of him being, working in an advisory capacity is great because, he, things with Todd Phillips is that he's a very director-driven type of dude, and he like you watch his movies and you can tell it's a Todd Phillips type of film with the way his cinematography is and type of humor and so forth. So I like the idea of him kind of like sitting on as an advisory board. I do agree he shouldn't be the one to run a division. It should be somebody with that mindset that Phillips or Mike DeLuca or Kevin Feige have. But it shouldn't be like he shouldn't be a filmmaker to do it because I agree. Todd Phillips makes movies, and I think Todd Phillips is already booked to do the Hulk Hogan biopic right now. So he's still kind of like, busy with that and, possibly Joker 2 and stuff like that. So, but I do like the idea of him coming on board and kind of just giving his own notes on certain things. I mean, WB, at this point, WB look at him as kind of like his last kind of golden boy because he's made practically all of his films at WB, I think, aside from Old School.
And even War Dogs. War Dogs was good.
Oh yeah, War Dogs was pretty good.
Yeah, that was kind of like the start of him going into slightly more serious direction with War Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with him, just advising things as long as he doesn't run division and just says, okay, let's make Toyman. Let's make Toyman into like Raging Bull. You know what I mean? Or let's make fucking Lex Luthor into Casino or something like that. Like if it gets into that point, then I'm like, reel the reins back up just a little bit. But like I said, I'm completely up for him coming on board.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with everything you guys are saying. Like, get Phillips on in an advisory basis, just to say like, what was it about Joker that just clicked and worked you? I think you've got to be careful that you don't just, we say, okay, we have one exacting work with Joker. Now let's just rinse and repeat for everything. A bit dangerous. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys are saying about getting somebody who's maybe more of a managerial capacity to take over for sure. But like, yeah, get a creative someone, get someone who knows DC. Don't get a suit to do it.
Like Greg Silverman.
I think Kevin Feige is like the kind of the perfect hybrid of suit and knows Marvel. Going too far in either direction is gonna probably be a bad idea. But like, yeah, you just need a like. I think it's clear that they're gonna try and do two things. They're gonna try and push DC Black, hopefully, and then they're gonna try and do a universe on the other side. But like, it's deciding what kind of universe you want that to be, because if you wanted to try and be something like an MCU, you need a Feige type. If you want it to be like, oh, okay, well, it's a universe that's kind of connected, you kind of like references to other characters, but we're not going to go as all out as Marvel are doing, then the person you're looking for is probably a lot different. You just want someone who can kind of ensure like consistency across the line, not necessarily somebody who's going from director to director and saying, we want to put this character in the movie, we want to do this, we want to make sure there's a connection here, who's as hands-on as I assume Feige to be. But they all know this. But judging from the last few years, you kind of need people who had sat in a call at 1 a.m. in the UK to give pointers on what they should be doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in this situation in the first place.
Yeah. The main thing is they all should have a writer's room and stuff like that, because, even with Marvel, even if Feige is not on every single set, ordering what to do, they all have, the writers themselves have, from different movies, they get together in a room, and there is a consistency head. I don't know what the exact role name is, but there's one person or a team of people who look at different projects and make sure they are, they're not contradicting each other. That may have not been the case recently as much in phase 4, but until phase 3 they had that team, and like James Gunn would sit with Russo brothers and they would discuss what your movie has or what my movie should have and all that. DC never had that until 2016 they had that, but after that they never had that. So every movie could be just getting in a Joker double, or putting Christopher Reeve Superman theme over Henry Cavill's body and shit like that. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
In sync. They need to be in sync.
Yes.
That's what they need to do.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of Superman, our final topic, which is basically a subtopic of this, but it's in a different article, and it's about Superman. So in another article on the Wrap, which is written by someone else, they basically had a source who talked about Superman. So here's what the paragraph says. If Hamada exits, DC Films would be going through its third overhaul in just 6 years, since Jeff Johns and John Berg first replaced the former production chief Greg Silverman, who I think was actually pretty good. With that duo in turn replaced by Hamada. As part of Zaslav's restructuring, the new head of DC will not only manage the film side of the imprint, but the television and publishing side as well. So this is really important because now they have different divisions for WB, New Line, and DC, right? So the DC division head would also be looking at the TV projects like HBO Max, CW, and all that. So they will now have only DCEU projects on HBO Max, just like Marvel now has just the MCU projects on Disney Plus. WB DC will have just DCU projects on HBO Max, and maybe some originals for the Black Label and stuff, who knows, but they will not have now CW projects or Legends or 2 Superman going around and stuff like that. So I think the Superman show will be going, but yeah. It would be a tall order for any executive, as well as even Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige had to find another blockbuster success at the box office first before being given the chance to tackle publishing. What could the new DC plan be going forward? Will the new DC chief follow the plan laid out by the Flash movie, or start something new altogether? If anything, they'll go back to individual movies unless Luca has some plan, according to a DC insider. Now, we don't know who this insider is. It could be some random employee. It could be one of the execs. Nobody knows.
Could be the person who wrote the article.
Could be the person who wrote the article. But yeah, the next sentence, and this is the key one, I think. They should get a fucking Superman movie off the ground, and if the plan is a shared cinematic universe, a Henry Cavill-led Superman needs to be the focal point. You'd think after all these years, this was the most obvious thing to say, right? So, and they go on
Literally,
to say
it's a
that
no shit type of answer.
right. Right, and then they go on to say that Zaslav's team should scratch every Superman project in development and start fresh with Cavill. Now, there are 2 things in this, right? So you can either bring the focus back to Superman, Henry Cavill Superman, and continue with the DCEU, or you could soft reboot the DCU, Flashpoint way, like how the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War animated movie kind of reset the animated universe at the end. So they didn't need to do all that, but they still had the Flash run into the horizon, and it basically is rebooting the entire thing, which could work for the DCEU. That way you could continue keeping the same actors but start fresh, the origin story and all that stuff, which I feel like is a harder way to go. I would rather continue it, but I would not be opposed to complete reboot. Like I would say, cast new actors, start over, and everything like that. I would not be opposed to that, because from their point of view, I see I see the problems in continuing with the current cast. They have too much baggage, fans, some actors, storylines, contradictions, whatever. Um, if you are someone new getting that job, you would inherit that baggage, and you would be blamed for any single misstep along the way and stuff like that. So if you are coming in, that would probably be one of your um, demands. So I would think that the person coming in would ask for a reboot if they are serious in building a universe from scratch. But if this, according to this person who wants the Henry Cavill as Superman to be the focus, if this is the chatter going inside DC, I would love it if Zaslav agrees to this mentality and just makes another Superman movie. I've always said, like, even Lewis, like, we already had that discussion before as well. Like, we did a campaign for Superman before, and it was really big and all that. So we have been wanting Henry Cavill to do more Superman movies since forever. Like, it should have been the obvious thing to do. Like I said, you'd think that this is the most important and obvious thing one could say, but apparently not. And finally, Zaslav came in, and he said he was basically, since before getting even signed on to WB and all that, he was, talking about Superman. In every interview, he was basically like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. And now finally, it wasn't just words; it's actions as well. He's kind of leading, to that point, I feel. So, yeah. I feel like the biggest announcement they could make right now, and the most important one, is another Henry Cavill Superman movie. Like, it's basically the most obvious decision they should make, and it would be the most hyped announcement they would make at a Comic-Con or whatever, that another Henry Cavill led Superman movie would be announced. It doesn't have to be by Zack Snyder, and it doesn't have to be a Man of Steel 2 per se, but I would love for the story of Man of Steel to continue from there. Like Henry Cavill also wants, I also want the same thing. You just begin right where Man of Steel ends. He's a reporter and bring stuff back to the ground. No more, superheroes flying around. No more Wonder Woman, Batman, all that. You just have Superman, Clark Kent, and you don't have the Darkseid stuff. You just have to deal with the Clark stuff, bring it back to the ground, and then lead that into BVS at the end, Rogue One style, bring in Ben Affleck at the end, tease him, and then that would lead into BVS. So it's a simple movie. You don't have to do big things, and it will bring back Henry Cavill Superman back into audience's favor, if a good director directs it. So yeah, I'm totally down with this. Like I said, I don't know why we are talking about this in 2022. It should have been done in 2016. Just make another Superman movie. It's the most obvious thing. What do you think?
Like Superman and Lois was like, Tyler Hoechlin was looked at as this kind of weird Superman there, but then they kind of reboot with a higher budget. And it's not really connected to the Arrowverse at all, and it's just him, Lois, the kids, and have their story. You can do the same with Henry Cavill. People just want to watch a good, entertaining movie. They don't really care about every single reference or every single Easter egg. It's cool to have those kind of things, but just been a good, solid. And Logan wasn't really a sequel to other movies, but it was a sequel to nearly all of the X-Men movies. It had little hints or stuff like that, which was cool. So there's ways to do it. You can talk about what happened, or you can show like something that references Batman v Superman. Or you don't have to. It doesn't really matter too much. Just make a solid standalone Superman movie. I think fans will be happy. Superman, for me, is Henry Cavill, so bring him back. I know his age. Brian was saying his age is not the best in terms of like, can they make a franchise out of this guy? But he looks good. He's a movie star. He's been in Mission Impossible. He's popular. So, yeah, you could get another 10 years, 15 years out of him past the Torch Man or maybe Sasha Cali. There's loads of avenues to do this, and with movie effects these days, age doesn't really matter that much considering he's going to be on a harness anyway when he's doing the Superman stuff. So that doesn't really matter. It's not like he really runs, but like Tom Cruise running through streets and stuff like that, Superman flies. So there is ways to get around it. And yeah, so Zaslav seems to be a big fan of Superman, but he might want to have his own super team, you know, someone that he builds up from the ground. That could be the problem for Henry Cavill. But Black Adam's had its reshoots. Maybe they snuck Henry Cavill in or not. I don't know. It's actually a bit ridiculous if Henry Cavill is not referenced in that movie or doesn't make a cameo. That's a big missed opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And what we have to wait another 3 or 4 years for another Black Adam movie where we might see Henry Cavill. So if they don't have him in that, it's a bit bullshit, to be honest. You know? But because who wants to see Shazam versus Black Adam? Like, who wants to see that? Not even Shazam wants to see that.
Some people.
It feels like it's a bit like a now or never. I think.
Yeah.
Like if I think Sean's right. I think if you get to like Black Adam comes out and there's just no mention of Superman at all, and you're thinking, right, okay, well, Black Adam 2 is not going to be Black Adam versus Superman. You know, you want to build up a Shazam versus Black Adam. That's probably like the biggest way to go. Shazam was very well received, but Black Adam's, I don't know how it will be received, but it's probably going to make a fuckload of money because it's Dwayne Johnson. Like, there's a natural point to build up to. And in that time, as like a way to bridge between where we are now and that big fighting movie, is you have a solo Superman movie and you just bring him back. But if you don't have any plans with him in the next like 2 years, then everyone having to wait another like 3 years for a movie to come out that just mentions Superman and then lays the groundworks for another movie, which would be another 2 or 3 years after that. Like, I mean, you see how much Marvel movies are still making a boatload of cash, but like, you're gonna be close to like 20 years of superhero movies since Iron Man at that point, you know, and people will start getting bored. You know, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, even if it's 15 years. That's still better than 20 years in terms of how long you have between projects. But yeah, it just feels like you gotta do it now, or Henry's just gonna be like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna carry on making Witcher series, I'm gonna keep making these other movies where I get to have a bit more fun with it. But yeah, it just seems, as you said, Casey, it's just like the most obvious and clear thing to say, just make a fucking Superman movie. Like, how difficult is it? At least with Marvel, it's like, okay, yeah, we started with Iron Man, but like if Marvel was going through this same kind of turmoil, it wouldn't be like, dear God, make an Iron Man movie. It'd be like, okay, but we just got to make a big movie. But with DC, it's like Superman is like the quintessential DC hero. Just make a movie with him in. People love Henry as Superman. Just make a movie. That's it. Just give people something and kind of at least get a centrality to the universe, because it is very scattered, but it's not exactly like dysfunctional at the moment. DC's universe, like the doing, it's not as coherent as the MCU, but I think that any attempt at doing that was given up a long time ago. And I don't think it's a particularly good idea for them to try and make up lost ground and to try and say, okay, now we're going to try and go super hardcore with our shared universe, and then in 5 years we're going to have a big Avengers-style movie. It's like, you already have like your Justice League movies there. You already have Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was received extremely well. Like, go back to that if you need to. Just call it Justice League 2. You have Zack Snyder if you don't want to. Just anything, you know? Don't try and start this over from scratch, but you have to start no matter what you're thinking of doing. The Superman movie just seems to be the most obvious point.
Yeah. Rokan?
Okay.
Let it loose.
So, all right, I will. It's like this. I don't see how a studio cannot look at Henry Cavill and not see that he's money. When you've had him in Mission Impossible, you had him on The Witcher, which is one of the biggest movies was one of the biggest shows that Netflix has done. You know, it's a popular video game and book series that has done a successful adaptation. He's in Enola Holmes, which was very popular, with families and stuff like that. He's going to be in Argyle, which is as like Apple TV's like next franchise of a series of films. Like, he is money right there. And remember, John Cena, said at the premiere of the Suicide Squad, it's in a company's best interest to listen to their audience. And what the audience wants is they want another adventure with Henry Cavill as Superman. We all want to see him wear the costume once again. Now, would I want to see him, versus Brainiac again, or versus Brainiac, or like Toyman, or whatever? Absolutely, it'd be a fucking dream. You know what I mean? Considering the fact that I've always been tired of the fact that all the Superman movies have just been Superman versus Lex Luthor, Superman versus Zod, and I wanted to see them kind of like expand his rogues gallery and expand, the world.
We got Brainiac on fucking Krypton, but not in a movie.
Shut up! I'm making a point. So
yeah, I'm adding to your point. Like, we never had Brainiac in a movie.
That is true, and we also had him on. We also have Brainiac in Smallville as well. Actually, now that I remember, but it's true. You haven't. I don't know why they have not taken advantage of the fact that they have a character with as big of, who's as iconic, who has an incredible amount of story to go from than Superman. Because you could say, well, J.J. Abrams is doing this. Like, J.J. Abrams has done jack fucking shit with the DC world. Not, like he was going to do a Superman movie. I have not heard a single thing about that. He's trying to do a John Constantine show. I haven't heard anything about it. Like, at this point, the guy just took the WB gig just to get more money, which, power to him. I would do the same fucking thing. But at the same time,
in the end, he was the winner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like I said, I would do the same thing. But the point, the point is, though, you have an opportunity with Cavill, and to continue that, and they haven't done jack shit about that for God knows whatever reason. So I don't. And
it's not like he was Ben Afflecking it. He wants to make it. He's openly saying in interviews that this is how I want my next Superman movie to be made. He's pitching it to directors like Christopher McQuarrie. And
that's the thing. Just to record a Superman movie like that sounds awesome. Like why would you?
He wanted to have a Green Lantern in there as well, right?
Yeah.
I think he was. I think he was pegged for Green Lantern, but he wanted to do Superman instead. But it's like, why would you not? You would have to be a fucking moron to say no to a Superman movie with Henry Cavill from the director of the last, 2 Mission Impossible movies. So I don't understand why.
And producer on Top Gun, Maverick.
And producer on Top, producer and writer on Top Gun too, and also he wrote Edge of Tomorrow, which, no surprise, Edge of Tomorrow is fucking beloved and is also a Warner Brothers movie. So
ridiculous,
Exactly. Like, I don't see why they don't take advantage of that. And I'm glad. I hope that the reports are true that they want to scrap all the Superman projects, because you're not making any progress with it. You're not doing jack shit. It's not like J.J. Abrams will, cry and beg for them to take away his Superman projects. He won't care. He'll move straight to Apple TV. He'll go back to Paramount and he'll remake E.T. and the Goonies again with another train monster. So it's like you might as well just do what everybody's been demanding for the past 4 or 5 years and just make another fucking Superman movie. I don't care if it connects to the Snyder world or not. I just want another adventure with Henry as Superman. I mean, look, I got a BBS poster right fucking behind me, man. So that's, yeah. Bottom line is, it's now, better late than never to give Cavill one more.
Yeah, man, I agree. Like, the best way to do it is definitely the way, Henry pitched it in that GQ interview. I feel like that's the safest and the best way to make it inside the DCEU and have it just focused on him. You have a 18-month gap between Man of Steel and BVS. You have a lot of time there. Just go back to the grounded stuff. There's no super, beings flying around. You can do what Superman Lois does. Like, you have family drama there. You can have a neighbor who he's basically helping. Him and Lois are helping a neighbor. Something like that. And then you have a big bad at the end. Sure, but it would be more of character focused, so people would love and appreciate Henry Cavill's performance more. He's not just the action Superman. He's also good Clark Kent character, which basically he was starting to be at the end of Man of Steel when he joined the Daily Planet. So you can have the Daily Planet stuff as well. That's his day-to-day job. He could solve that as well, and there could be a mystery surrounding a new thing that happens with this neighbor of his that they're helping, something like that. Simple stuff. You can really show the character with that. You don't have to have super flying beings with laser eyes and dark side threats and Batman beating your ass and all that stuff. It's the simplest way to make another Superman movie without all these stuff, because at that time you didn't have any of this stuff.
Exactly. Like, you can. I think that idea of filling that 18-month gap would be great. Actually, it would not discount what happens later on in BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League. You can just make that kind of like the connective tissue in a lot of ways, in the same way that you kind of do with the first Wonder Woman. Like, you're able to make that, even though, like, obviously it takes place 100 years before any of the events, you can still make that connection tissue with when we see her in BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Hell, like, there's an end credit, like, there's a deleted scene on the Wonder Woman Blu-ray that has them fighting the Mother Box. So you can do things like that with the in-between film of Man of Steel and BVS.
Yep. Maher, you were going to say something?
No, it's just like, honestly, even if they didn't do that, just make a Superman movie with Henry Cavill, because that's what most the average audience would be into.
Yep.
I think he's very popular online. His social media following is pretty big. When he builds a PC, it's pretty interesting and people like it. The Witcher and Mission Impossible, as Rokan was saying, he's a big attraction. So just make a Superman movie. I don't think at the end of the day, like, we can all pick and choose. I want to have Batman v Superman canon, this canon. Yeah, but general audiences don't really care necessarily about all that kind of stuff. They just want to see maybe the character and him as the character. So if they make a good movie, a good Superman movie, then all the other stuff doesn't really matter. We don't want it to be the Shazam cameo or the Justice League movie in 2017 stage. I think, I don't think they'll do that. Hopefully not. Just make a Superman movie and see how you go. And Henry Cavill is too good of an attraction to waste, or to bring someone else in as a reboot. So hopefully they get everything in line, the contracts, all that kind of stuff is sorted. Hopefully he's teased a series that he wants to do, Superman series, and he is a Warner Brothers guy. He's going to be one of those guys who the studio is going to want to tie down, like Timothy Chalamet, and Michael B. Jordan he's a very good producer. He's producing a lot of good stuff. He's directing now Creed 3, and he's an actor, and he is I think his Superman could be something that he's trying to push forward. I think he would play Superman. So, like, time is running out for Henry Cavill, and they need to start pushing in the right direction. So hopefully they hurry up, because time is running out, and interest will run out as well. I think with people.
Yeah, there's only so much patience that people would have for all this bullshit. But like, a lot of people have already given up on the DCEU, like, long before. But one way to reinvigorate that would be to have a new Henry Cavill Superman movie. Everyone loves this, interpretation of Superman, especially after Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think he will do pretty fantastic.
Agreed.
All right, so that concludes our show, all the topics. Thank you everyone for joining. It's always great to have you, Rokan, and thank you, Lewis, for joining for the first time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been on your show before, and it's always fun talking to you and discussing all these things. It's just sad that the last time I was on your show, you were discussing about DC should do this and that, and we are still doing that today. Hopefully better days are coming.
I swear to God, hopefully. Yeah, it's been nice to not like think about like managers coming and going and businesses coming and going, but then you just think about like, yeah, fucking hell, we've been having the same conversation for years. Like, how hard can it be to just greenlight a Superman movie? And then if it tanks, fuck it, there you go. Let's just sign. Just move on. Yeah, we were wrong. And, like, you can't argue with it. If it comes out and it makes 50 million, does like a fucking Morbius, fine. But like,
I'd be like, well, the joke's on me.
Find out, please. Yeah. It's just like, please give us the evidence so that we can find. But hopefully there'll be a day when we look back and go like, wow, let's talk about that Superman movie. That was really good.
Man of
Mhm.
Steel.
Man of Tomorrow. There you go. I've made your title for you. Just fucking make the goddamn movie.
Don't care what it's called.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you for joining, everyone. Until next week. Goodbye and take care.
Thank you guys.